All right, so we are here. We're here. We're live. Can y'all see me? Can y'all hear me? All right, we're here. We're doing this again. And listen, I don't want to waste a lot of time. I want to get straight to the point as it pertains to MoNique, D.L. Hughley, Shannon Sharpe, Club Shay Shay, and everything else. There's a lot of nuances and peaks and valleys within this conversation. But without further ado, I do want to ask that you go ahead and hit the thumbs up on this video. Listen, share this thing with somebody. Share it with somebody. Share it with somebody on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, in your group chat. However it is that you share videos, make sure you share it with somebody. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get into what MoNique had to say. And I just want to say, some people might consider it to be biased, but shout out to Baltimore. I'm born and raised in Baltimore. I'm still here in Baltimore. So, to all of my Baltimore people, hi. What's going on, people? What's going on, dummy? Fuck it is. All right, let's go.
We did it. We're going to wait for y'all to come on in, my babies. We ain't done this in a long time.
We ain't done it in a long time.
We ain't done it in a long time, Daddy. Look, y'all don't even understand why we smiling so hard, because we was able to get it set up. We was able to push the button. Hey, come on now. We want you babies to come on in here. First of all, how y'all doing?
I'm doing good, MoNique. Thank you so much for asking. I'm so great. I'm so gracious and grateful that you asked me how I'm doing. I'm doing amazing. For those of you all who don't know, I've been covering, and I always cover what happens with MoNique, because she's just one of those. It's kind of like when people think about thePLAINESTjane, they think about R. Kelly. Also, when people think about thePLAINESTjane, they think about MoNique, because I follow her very intricately. And so I cover her, and if you don't know, she did an interview with Shannon Sharpe. MoNique with somebody. Yeah, come on in. I see there are more people coming in. Drop your pancakes, hit the thumbs up, and share this video. She did an interview with Shannon Sharpe. D.L. Hughley came up, in which she told the truth about him, and D.L. Hughley sent a very fiery response in which he called her fat. He body shamed her, and now we are literally witnessing in real time her response to whatever it is D.L. Hughley had to say. So let's continue watching what it is that MoNique and her husband, we know him as Sydney. MoNique knows her husband as what? Daddy. We all know that, but that's that.
It's been a minute, my babies. It's been a minute. Life been lifing. Life been lifing. Where we at, Daddy?
What do you mean?
Okay, yeah, I think it's enough babies in there.
All right.
Let's go get it. Come on.
Well, thank you for tuning in. We just wanted to take a few minutes to address a couple of things that have taken place after the Club Shay Shay interview. Much love to Shannon Sharpe.
Yes.
Good brother. Thank you for allowing MoNique to come on the platform, be a listening ear, continue success on what it is that you're doing. Thank you for being a real one.
Yeah, baby. Thank you. Thank you.
We wanted to address first and foremost our brother, D.L. Hughley. And we are firm believers on what is right and what is wrong.
Yes.
So we got to start off by saying there was an inaccuracy as it regards MoNique saying that there was a cease and desist that was given to DL to shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
What had taken place, to be accurate, was after MoNique spoke to Brother DL on that conversation, Brother DL said, what?
Well, after we spoke on that conversation, when we hung up that phone, the last thing he said was, "It is what it is." And I said, DL, then we're going to have to get our attorney involved. That's the last thing me and DL Hughley said on that conversation.
And after having that conversation with MoNique, we went and got our attorney involved, Attorney Anderson. At the time, there were some emails that were transferred back and forth between his side and our side, and it escalated to a point when we had our attorney on the email, whereby then finally DL said that he would scratch the interview.
Yes.
So it was inaccurate that a cease and desist had to be given. However, that was the next.
Didn't I tell y'all that? I told y'all that last night in my video when we watched DL Hughley's response. DL Hughley said, MoNique said I'm dismissive. And when she called me, I was just, if I was so dismissive, the interview wouldn't have aired. I wouldn't have aired the interview if I was so dismissive. I made sure the interview didn't air. And I'm like, well, per MoNique, her attorney sent a cease and desist to ensure that it wouldn't air. So, like, which one is it? Not that I've seen evidence of one side or the other, but she's saying she's got attorney. And one thing about it is anytime someone has called MoNique a liar, have they ever had receipts? If has anybody ever provided, as opposed to just relying on the general public to villainize MoNique, has anybody ever provided a receipt that what she was saying was not true? MoNique may say a lot of things and MoNique may rub a lot of people the wrong way. But has she ever said anything that anybody has ever been able to prove is a lie? I brought that up last night. Very interesting that they are saying this today. He made it seem like that episode didn't air just because he had enough morale to not air that effed up episode where he asked, or where his team asked MoNique, would you rather your husband have sex with Lee Daniels with the condom or with Corinne Steffen / Superhead without a condom? Would you rather your husband have sex with this or that? Like, she didn't like that. And she got her, according to her, per her, she got her attorneys involved to stop that episode from airing. He's making it seem like he stopped it from airing. Or let's continue listening.
Step, and that's what MoNique remembered, because when I discussed it with her, we said that would be the next step. But to DL's credit, at that moment, when it had escalated, that's when he decided to shut it down. However, that is a bit different from how it seemed to have been communicated, whereby on the phone, they were having a conversation and it was kumbaya. Though he never used those words, kumbaya, it did not end with her being under the impression that this was going to be resolved and shut down. So we wanted to make that clear out of love and respect for Brother DL. And despite all the commentary that he gave, with all the crunches she be doing, the captain's in the front.
I do.
And
I do.
Tell him.
I'm a sneak snacker, baby.
And she doesn't sneak when she snacks.
Okay. Hey.
But nonetheless, we wanted to be clear because at the end of the day, we black folks in this world of entertainment. And there was a level of harshness in his return that seemed a little bit exaggerated for the moment. And we wanted to make it clear, and I think MoNique can do it best when she speaks in reference to what she meant while talking about DL in the past.
You know, when I watched DL say, she went after my wife, she went after my daughters, I want to really be clear who I went after, so that there's no confusion here. When I was on stage, when I'm on stage and we are performers, we are performing to the audience in front of us. When I was on that stage and I said it must be hard to perform oral sex,
but differently,
okay, on a coward, that had nothing to do with Mrs. Hughley. That insult was directed straight to you, DL. That had nothing to do with your wife. That was straight to you. So it felt like you were trying to pass it off as if I was going after your wife. When it comes to your daughter, to the baby that you did a post about, you did an interview about, I didn't do that interview. I simply reposted what you said. So when you say, MoNique, you went after my daughter, that's untrue, DL. I posted what you said. And then when you said when you were really going for it with your shades on, and you said, MoNique said, I stood by and watched my daughter be raped. DL Hughley, that's your conscience talking to you, brother. I never said that. I never said that.
Oh my goodness. I wish I had the timestamp in which I said that last night when we listened to DL Hughley say that shit. Because when DL Hughley said that shit with his sunglasses on and said, MoNique said, I stood and I watched my... That's not what she said. What she said was she reiterated what you said in your own... You said it on the radio and you made a post about it. She said you didn't believe your daughter when she was being sexually assaulted because you were fond of the guy who was doing it. And you've admitted that for years. You thought that your daughter was making something up. You were trying to rewrite history. Show me where MoNique has said or typed that you sat and watched your daughter be raped. Are you kidding? She never... I said that last night. Shout out. Please put a 5 in the chat if you were here last night. I know it was late. I know I didn't go live until 1 in the morning. Please put a 5 in the chat if you were here last night. He was trying to rewrite history. I saw, and although I felt like it wasn't fair, and I felt like MoNique really shouldn't have even been bringing that up, I don't feel like that was fair for her to bring that up in the midst of their beef. I do remember exactly what she said because I covered it. And she did not say she was great in front of him. No, that's not what she said. She was trying to speak to your character. And your character is your own damn daughter came up to you and told you, this guy is doing this to me, and you didn't believe her, and you dismissed it for years because you were fond of the guy that she said of her accuser. You were fond of her accuser. Come on now. I said that last night. Shout out to the people who have sent a super chat or a super sticker. Shout out to TJ for the $1.99, and shout out to Miss Pinky 84 for the $20. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. This is interesting how this is coming full circle because I told y'all and I saw quite a few things in DL Hughley's comments of people who were just blindly believing what he said. Oh, that's nasty that she said that you watched your daughter be raped. Oh, that she never said that. That's not what she said. Although I don't agree with her bringing that up. That is not what she said. Let's keep it a buck, okay? Now, if you haven't already paid your fare, listen, you're on my bus. If you're watching this video, hit the thumbs up button. It is completely free. Thank you. Let's keep it pushing within this video.
And I want to be a little clear about something else. Never would I try to do anything to harm any of your babies because we got babies too. So never would I try to do anything to harm your children. However, what I was saying to your daughter and to the other daughters out there, I know what it's like for your daddy to know you've been touched and he not protect you, because my daddy did the same thing. That's what that whole point was. But I was showing why I would call you a coward, brother. I don't think it's brave that you didn't protect your baby. So when I said what I was saying, let me be clear to you, D.L. Hughley, it had nothing to do in reference to your family, and you know that. Now, when you were speaking and you were going off and you said, what did you say? She was so offended by the game we play, but you didn't say what the offense was. And that's the part for me that is disheartening, that you continue to try to trick and smoke and mirror our people. If you're going to say it all the way through. When you say family is sacred, you are absolutely right, baby. You're right. But when you say would my husband rather, and you co-sign your team of people doing that, well, isn't my husband sacred? So you got to be careful in your words, because the very words you use, DL, they're going to come back, and they're coming back to bite you, baby. And what I also said on Club Shay Shay, when I looked in that camera, I said, DL, I love you, brother. And I don't know if you didn't hear that part, but we really do. We love you, brother. And if ever you get courageous enough to want to have a conversation, we're always open to it, because doing that, it shows how our community can get better. When you're wrong, as we had said to you, hey, brother, we apologize on that one.
Yeah, incorrect on the cease and desist. And I want to add one more thing. When you spoke in reference to your daughter being a reason why MoNique stopped speaking about it, what you don't even understand, out of love for you, See, you can have a problem with your brother, but you're not going to take it out on the kids. And we respected the fact that she tried to defend you, but we got 3 big ass sons. That if we were to think about it in the same way that she thought about it, what would that be? But out of love for you, we're not going to go after your child trying to protect the father that she loves. But one could argue, based upon what you said about yourself, had you exhibited the same type of love and protection for your other daughter that your other daughter tried to exhibit towards you, there never would have been the commentary that you made about yourself. And I liken it to Brother Corey Holcomb, who I don't know. But I got a lot of respect for him because I heard him say something in an interview. He spoke about how Earthquake's son had came to one of his shows, and the young man was hesitant about introducing himself or reintroducing himself because of the rift between his father and himself. And Brother Corey was like, come on, man, no, you come over here and I'm going to give you love, because that was between your father and I. And it made him reconsider the whole thing and reach back out to an old friend. In my humble opinion, that's what real men do. We come from the old school. We not going to have no problem with your children because we love them and we love you and we want y'all to win. Not at the expense of the community, though, being demeaned in order to get followers. But from the standpoint of if we come together, we're going to win just by default. So at the end of the day, when you get to talking about how MoNique is not loved and this, that, and the other, that's your perception. But what I'll say is it is due to the love that we have that we're able to love those that say things that could be construed as hurtful, but we understand that.
Okay, so let's do this. We're halfway through. We're halfway through what they're saying. I want to get into this phone call. this secret phone call that Tyler Perry and Oprah had. So let me see. Let me make sure. Okay, here we go.
Let me tell you. Let me tell you. So that because and my husband is that part of our team that he has the business conversations. I'm the part of the team that you saw May 13th on the stage. So what I would ask you is, because you're talking in Tyler Perry language, I would ask you to let MoNique talk to Madea. Because when you start talking in Tyler Perry language, brother, you talk like you don't get it. Right, nigga. Right. You gotta laugh at it because you know. Because you know. See, let me tell you. Let me tell you, Tyler. When I watch your movies, I dig Madea. And you know why I dig her? You know why I dig her, Tyler?
Because she could be your mother.
You know why I dig her? You know why I dig her? Because that bitch is real to her gut. And she don't give a fuck how it come out. She don't give a fuck how it's taken. But everybody knows she love you. But she gonna tell you the real shit. See, when you stepped away from Madea and you became Tyler Perry, the billionaire, this is the conversation you're having. Like, well, guys, what do you want me to do? What do you want me to say?
Okay, so after that, Tyler Perry offers to send MoNique the royalties that the movie Precious is currently earning because he doesn't want her to feel like she's been used or mistreated.
So again, shout out to Layla Lynn. That's where I got the first part of this conversation from. But when it comes to the last part of this conversation, it came from people on Twitter. So I have no clue what the origin was. All I know is that the second half was leaked on Twitter. But shout out to Layla Lynn. Definitely make sure you check her out. And let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. I also see I only have 85 thumbs up and there are 240 of y'all watching. What's really going on? Hit that like button before we have to square up. Y'all know how me and MoNique, we will band together. We will bank you. Hit that damn like button. But let's keep listening though on some real stuff.
What you gonna do?
I'm gonna call and find out whatever money is coming in for Precious, and I'm gonna send that to you. I'm gonna send it over to you. Whatever it is, I'm sending it to you.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this, and I want to talk again.
I'm gonna write you a check. I mean, seriously, because hear me, because this is the thing about this thing. And when we start talking about this one doing this and this one doing that, and black people doing this, black people doing that, what we need to understand about that is this: where we are right now and what we're trying to do, we got some opportunities that a lot of most people didn't have. So what I don't want you to feel one day, not one day, is that you were mistreated or that you were treated unfairly. Now, if that means that that's what I need to do, then you do that. You do that. You take that and take it from a place of love.
Let me tell you where I'm gonna take it from. I'm gonna take it from it's business, and I'm gonna take it from my brother saying, "Listen, yo, this is what y'all was supposed to get."
Okay. All right. I'm not going to say this because I spent way too much time here. I thought that this would be a quick call that I could just call and say how I felt and to absolutely wish you the best. The only way this changes, I think the only way this changes, I think for you guys and where you are is this. I think MoNique needs an amazing movie. She needs to be with a great director. And once the movie's done, it comes out, she gets all this kind of buzz, she gets all this that she did before, and then this thing goes away. That's the way this changes.
Did you not just say it was wrong, Tyler? To say she was difficult for not doing something that she was not contractually obligated to do? Did you not say that you would feel that was wrong?
The plaintiff.
Or am I missing something?
I absolutely said that. Yes.
So the question I would say is, so the question I would say is, but
I didn't mean to spend this much time on it is because just like you were there with your beautiful twins, I got a little boy, and I want to make sure when I'm off, that's where my attention is.
here's the thing: that you shouldn't have made the call until you were able to talk.
Is saying, wait a minute, hold up. We don't know this sister to be no bullshitter. We know she a loudmouth. We know she'll say some shit off the wall. But what we know about her is she true to her word.
And all I would ask you is two questions. The first question is, did you not just say it was wrong?
Tyler.
Did you not just say it was wrong, Tyler? To say she was difficult for not doing something that she was not contractually obligated to do? Did you not say that you would feel that that was wrong? Or am I missing something?
I absolutely said that. Yes.
So the question I would say is,
okay, is there a number? You know, taking that back to them was just a huge problem. Okay, and I'm going to David Talbot thing in a minute because I just watched your podcast and it really broke my heart because number one, I feel you. I feel the sadness that's from you in all of this. And I don't want you to feel that. I mean, especially for me. I can't speak for anybody else. But for me, I'm not anyone that wants to hurt or offend anybody, especially you. I think you are brilliantly talented. I think you should have a lot more happening than you from that award. I thought for sure that if you had campaigned and won it and played by their rules, what would happen is in the next deal, you would have got more money, millions of dollars, and your career in the film would have been much different. I believe that much in your talent. So in saying all of that, I just say it's just heartbreaking because I don't ever want you to think that I'm out trying to blackball or say anything. Please give me when I say this. I'm not trying to hurt you. I would never try to hurt you.
if MoNique asked Lionsgate for a favor and they told her no, and she's asking for a favor that is not contractual, not something that they're contractually obligated to do, and they told her no, but then she went and told the world how difficult that they were, do you think that that would be fair or unfair?
No, that's not fair. It's not fair.
So the question, pardon me. So the question I would ask of you, good sir, because I appreciate you being honest enough to answer that with a relative quickness. I really do. So the question that I would ask you is this. If we should do unto others as we would have them do unto ourselves, the question I would ask is, how do you sit back, or how would you feel if someone said about you that you were difficult to work with because you didn't want to perform for them a function that you were not contractually able or obligated to do? How would you feel about that?
Well, as I said, that's not fair. If I bring a movie for MoNique over there, I'm going to have to say it. I'm going to have to defend it. I'm going to have to fight for it.
Well, it's easy. It's easy because all you would be doing is telling the truth.
Rolex on your wrist, PlETHORA.
What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? Shout out to the stickies. I am getting real real-time updates. Okay, so what are your thoughts about what's being said? This really helps me understand exactly why it's not that Tyler Perry isn't willing to have a conversation with MoNique. Tyler Perry isn't willing to have a conversation with MoNique if her manager husband is present. Why? Why? I'll tell you why. It's because, first of all, when we say protect Black women, we need to understand that it's far more than physical. We say protect Black women. Why do women have not so good luck when they show up and they try to go get their vehicle or their car repaired? when a man ain't there. A man knows how to bullshit a woman. A man can say certain things to a woman, but unless a woman really has a man there with her by her side, then the man is going to do what the man. Testosterone understands testosterone. An XY understands. So there may be certain things that an XY can say to an XX while another XY isn't present. But unless you have somebody that truly is down for you, that loves you, that supports you, that isn't just concerned about a paycheck, they're concerned about your well-being and the longevity of your career. A man having a conversation with a woman does not compare to a man having a conversation with a man. There are some things that a man will say to a woman with no other man around, and they will say it. And they will say it and they'll get away with it. But let another dick be in that room. It's sometimes you need dick on dick energy. Tyler Perry is not willing to have a reasonable and a rational conversation with MoNique's manager in the room because he knows he's not able to get over on that man. Men speak a totally different language than women speak, and the entertainment industry is a male-dominated industry. Tyler Perry wants to get MoNique alone by herself. Has anybody ever cornered you before? Do y'all know what cornering is? Put a 4 in the chat if you know what cornering is. Tyler Perry wants to corner MoNique while she doesn't have the counsel that she needs to understand the business aspect. Most pieces of talent, they don't understand the business aspect. That's why they have a team. That's why they have a manager. If I'm the talent and I'm the one on screen, then the person that is best understanding how to work my talent, the financials, and the back end of my talent definitely ain't me, because I'm focused on being what I need to be on screen. So you're upset that you understand that the person who was advocating for me, my manager, whether he be my husband or not, you're not going to be able to get over and give no word salad to him. He's going to get you caught up. And this is the reason why we've been able to listen to this recording today. Because a lot of people said that MoNique was lying about Tyler Perry in this entire conversation. She wasn't lying. The conversation has been leaked. And then people want to move the goalpost and say, oh, you shouldn't have recorded. Why did you record him? At first it was, oh, you're lying. That's not true. Then when I give you the recording of how true it is, it's, oh, you shouldn't have recorded him. I mean, like, where does it stop? Where does it stop? I just want to know. So when people you know, are out here with the whole protect Black women situation, I get it. We don't like that MoNique calls her man daddy in public. We get that. I mean, damn, are we going to die? Like, we get that. It's cringy. It's even cringy to me, and I'm advocating for her in this very moment. Yes. But that doesn't take away from the point and what she's trying to convey. At the end of the day, this man is actually speaking. This man is speaking up to her. We can even hear, and we're going to watch the other half. This man is speaking. This man is advocating for her, has her back, has her side, has her front, has every angle you can imagine. This man has her best interest. And it's intimidating to billionaires and millionaires such as Tyler Perry and Oprah Winfrey, because they realize that just because you're a rich superstar and you're Black, it doesn't mean that Blacks who aren't on your level aren't able to see through your bullshit. It doesn't mean that. And I can get you through simple questions and a diplomatic conversation. I can get you to admit that you are mistreating people. And so he wasn't yelling. They weren't screaming. It was a very diplomatic conversation. And this is the reason why Tyler Perry refused. Tyler Perry's willing to have a conversation with MoNique, but he requests, and his contingency is that MoNique's husband not be present. Why? Because that testosterone versus testosterone, it was buzzing. When men talk to men, it's a whole nother ball game. And Tyler Perry isn't willing to stand up to the testosterone that MoNique's advocate, protector, manager, lover, husband, whatever, he's not willing, he's not able, he's too cowardly to stand up to that. And all that MoNique and her team and her husband and whatever is asking for is fairness. They're not asking for anything crazy. So all I ask is that you all listen to the interview if you haven't listened to it already, and put the messenger aside. Because you know what I find to be extremely interesting? Why is it that we can put, as a society, as a community, why is it that we can put misogynists, we can forgive them and still listen to their messages? Misogynists. When it comes down to predators, we can put them to the side. When it comes to abusers, we can put them to the side and we can still listen to their messages, even if their messages are music. There are so many people that are still openly and boldly willing to listen to R. Kelly, but refuse to hear what the fuck MoNique got to say. Make that make some sense for me. Make it make sense. A proven predator, a proven pedophile. And y'all are still willing to listen to his music and say, I can put the artist aside. But when it comes down to MoNique, she needs to shut the fuck up and get the fuck over it. I will be damned. Same thing with P. Diddy. The shit with P. Diddy has been going on for how many years with how many different people? The only reason people are paying attention now is because Cassie decided to be courageous enough to file that goddamn lawsuit, and she got a goddamn settlement. But outside of that, people were still willing to listen to Diddy's music. They were still willing to listen to whatever the fuck he said when he decided, my name ain't Puffy, my name ain't Diddy, my name is Brother Love, and I'm all about love. And people were eating it up. Oh, they were willing to forgive that past shit that they heard about him, right? So when it comes to MoNique, and when it comes to the way that she spoke about what we should or should not be accepting, when it comes to discrepancies with pay as Black people in Hollywood, in the entertainment industry, and everywhere else, why the fuck can't we forgive or get past how rough around the edges her delivery was in the past? Why the fuck are we glued to that? Why the fuck are we so proud of Katt Williams and what he did and what he said on Katt Williams, but we can't get past what the hell MoNique had to say? Why? Why? The commonality in everything that I just had to say, the misogynist shit, right? When it came down to what Funky Dineva had to say about Chloe Bailey and Halle and him feeling entitled to her womb and her pregnancy and feeling like either tell us you pregnant or sit the fuck down because I don't give a fuck and you ugly as shit with that fat ass face, bitch. Like what? And people forgave him and they're still watching him. Why? Why can y'all forgive him and he's still thriving and surviving and people can still watch him and he can succeed and y'all can see past that messenger? You know the commonality and all the shit that I'm talking about? It's men. Why are y'all so upset when women speak the fuck up for themselves? Black women in particular. I don't know what the fuck white women go through. That's not my experience. Why? Why? This is an extremely sad commonality that people are willing to forgive abusers, misogynists, predators, all types of shit, and still hear their messaging and still consume their product and still listen to them and say that's in the past. And people grow and people this and people that. Oh, damn. Do women not grow? Because one thing I know about it, MoNique ain't said daddy not one time in that fucking interview. Not once. Y'all are so caught up in the messenger. Y'all are so caught up in my point. My point. See, because people ate the Katt Williams interview up. And why is that? Why did people eat the Katt Williams interview up? That really wasn't much different. Which probably contributes to why MoNique is on tour with Katt Williams right now. Katt Williams called out and spoke up against the system, the patriarchy, the phoniness, the facades, the false promises, the normalization of mistreatment of Black people in the industry and in general. People who have played in his face and thought that he didn't realize or wouldn't say anything. People who were lowballing him. When it came to not only money, but respect. These are all things that Katt Williams speak up against. And these are things that MoNique has been speaking up against. So why is it that you accept it when it comes from a man or when it comes from a crying Taraji, but you won't accept it when it comes from MoNique? These are questions that need answers, and I need you to give me these answers very goddamn quickly. One difference that I will say is Katt Williams' interview was just about 3 hours long as well, but it was more comedic. It was more. It was more funny. You could laugh at it more. But goddamn it, is a woman obligated to make sharing her experiences of what she has endured at the hands of the system or her life and fucked up shit in general? Is she obligated to make it funny? That was some shit that was funny about the interview with MoNique and Shay Shay. It just wasn't as funny as Katt Williams, because truly it wasn't a set. It wasn't a stand-up. So because MoNique's wasn't as funny, it's not acceptable? Or because she's a messenger that you perceive to be problematic, and she's already gotten Tyler to admit that he made a rumor that she's difficult to work with, are you obligated to make your trauma funny when you fucking share it? Are you? I'm just asking. I'm just asking a question. We need to really reconsider how we think about things, how we think about people. Is anybody going to tell Katt Williams again how often he can repeat what he said on Club Shay Shay? Because a lot of people are upset at the frequency in which MoNique shares her experience. She has been consistent. Some people may be tired of hearing about it, but think about our fucking ancestors that were in the fucking audiences during the Million Man March, when they were listening to Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, because it's the same thing. See, some of y'all are so narrow-minded that you truly don't understand. Think about how many times our grandparents or great-grandparents stood in the audiences of Martin Luther King and heard him speak out about racism. Racism is wrong, and one day I have a dream. And he spoke about the same issue over and over and over again. Did anybody find it to be repetitious? He was speaking about how Black people are mistreated and underpaid. Tell me the difference between what MoNique is saying. I get it. Some people might just be completely, she's rich, so they're not really singing it. But you might have a cousin, a brother, or a sister who goes into the entertainment industry. And also what MoNique is saying is extremely inspiring to the everyday fucking Negro. What she's saying is about the entertainment industry. But it can also apply to you as your person, and how to demand and ask for more based on what you observe in your potentially predominantly white workplace. See, people be asking for information and asking for aunties and for people to give them the knowledge and the understanding of how to navigate this world and how to navigate the problems and the facades of diversity and inclusion. And then when somebody gives you one, you fucking tear them down and tell them to shut the fuck up and get over it. If what MoNique is saying about celebrities, Black celebrities, and how they shouldn't accept less and how they shouldn't be okay with just a trinket or an invite to the party, they should demand what they are worth, and how they shouldn't accept subpar treatment. If that's bullshit to you, and you don't see the similarities in what Martin and Malcolm were fighting for, then I'm truly concerned about your level of comprehension. I really am. Truly. MoNique is not going to allow you to forget what she said. She's not going to say it one or two times and then go somewhere and hide in the closet and get quiet, because that ain't what MLK, that ain't what Malcolm did. They had to continue talking about the same issue over and over and over again in order to make a fucking change. What are you guys missing? What are you missing? I think a lot of people are truly envious of celebrity, and they feel like, oh, okay, well, since she's a celebrity, she's rich, and I just don't, whatever. But her talking points apply to everyday people like you and me too. They do. And if you don't understand that, let me break it down for you. If you walk into a workplace and you're replacing somebody that made $80,000 a year, but you don't know they made $80,000 a year. But there's a white person who has the same position and they make $80,000 a year. But the person before you was Black and they accepted $55,000 a year. How much do you think that they're going to offer you? How much? You think it's going to be 80? Or do you think it's going to be between 50 and 60? If you're lucky, 70. So the more you accept less, the more less is going to transpire. Not only for you, but for your children. So what MoNique is doing is it's for the betterment of our community. And if you would listen, instead of being caught up on the messenger, If you would listen, and again, like I said last night, her delivery has gotten so much better. Oh my goodness. She has refined her delivery to the point where I kind of feel like it's too goddamn sweet. Put some edge back on it. Damn. Put some more hot sauce. Her delivery has gotten so, because so many people have called her bitter or upset or hurt or whatever. MoNique has had the same exact consistent messaging and story and detail, but she has truly worked on her delivery because a lot of people have called her bitter. And her delivery has improved. There is no denying that. Debate your mama. Let's listen to the rest of what she had to say with Sydney, because I just had to get that off my chest. Oh, all right. Y'all hit thumbs up if you haven't already. Hit thumbs up on the video if you're already here. Let's continue watching what she said in response to D.L. Hughley and what he had to say yesterday.
Saying of hurt people. So we don't take what you say personally, brother. And again, it's nothing but love. In addition to the fact, I'm Q-Sci-Fi. Just like you, except I've been in about 29 going on 30 years. I'm not going to argue with you, frat. Ain't nothing but love. So we wanted to extend that to you and let you know what it is. And again, if you ever want to speak, let's have a real conversation. But people needed to know where the confrontation on stage began, and it was from that day.
It was from that day. And once you own that day, DL, guess what, baby? We'll be good. Now, talking about we're gonna be good.
Talking about we gonna be good and talking about taking ownership.
I want to talk to my babies at the Breakfast Club.
The Breakfast Club.
I want to talk to my babies at the Breakfast Club. Listen, oftentimes people don't know what a genuine apology will do. They don't even understand. It allows us to say, we accept that apology and we move forward, because today, y'all own that. Today, Charlemagne, today, Envy, y'all own that. And I want to speak to my baby, Just Hilarious.
Come on.
I want to speak to you, little sister. And let me speak to DJ and Leonard first. Okay, because I can't I'm not going to do the nicknames. She's a beautiful asset sitting in that seat. Mm-hmm. And she's going to bring something very special to that show. And I know the community is agreeing with what I'm saying right now, because what that sister did when she sat in that seat, she was able to get y'all to see something and understand something that nobody could get you to see for years. For years. And just that baby sitting there with nothing but honesty. And said, no, we got to deal with this, y'all. We got to deal with this, y'all. You don't understand what that baby's bringing to that show. Because what she's not going to be bringing is, let's knock down, drag them out. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And because you babies owned it and you apologize.
We love you. And we loved you then. Not mad. And want y'all to win.
That's all. That's all. So if we start pumping out that positivity into our community, if we start speaking about the greatness that we are and the greatness that we're doing, guess what's going to happen? Now, do we still have to bring some to the mat and ring the doorbell ding dong? Yes, we do. But we don't love them no less, because at any given time, we could be brought to the mat. Ding dong.
Well, we make it a point of not messing with people that's not messing with us. And we hope that today for you guys, the feeling that Charlemagne got, Brother Leonard received from the community by big upping him for apologizing. It's kind of like a movie we used to watch with the kids called Monsters, Inc., where they would go and they would scare the people for power. But then they found out laughter created more power. Y'all have the power to heal. Use it. Use it to heal. Use it to help folks. Don't hurt folks. Because what happens is, one of the greatest gifts we can have is going in our community and getting the love from our people. Forget Hollywood, because it's weird. Getting the love from our people. So we are proud of you. And I'm emotional about it because I'm happy that y'all got an opportunity to do that for yourselves. And we love y'all, brothers and sisters. And just hilarious, keep that going. Keep that going because you are a great addition. Because there were others that would have sat in that seat and would not have said a word. So, nothing but love and respect for y'all. And one last thing. Thank you, Charlamagne, for not calling the brother daddy.
Okay. Hey.
Thank you for not calling me daddy. You did the right thing and you didn't owe me an apology. It was MoNique.
Okay.
Out of pocket for that shit. Way out of pocket. What do you gain from that?
Listen. Okay, it's difficult to not call you daddy. And listen, hear me out, guys. Hear me out. Your wife has set a precedent that even in a professional setting, that you shall be referred to as daddy. So thanking somebody for not calling you daddy is like, I mean, and not that no other grown man should be calling you daddy, but understand the precedent. And first of all, why a lot of us cringe while hearing MoNique call you daddy. It's cringy in public. And I say she can't call you dad, like in the house. Like, me and my boo got a whole nickname that we get, and it's so embarrassing. Like, it's so ooh. And so so when y'all having professional meetings and y'all are negotiating and you want certain things to happen or not happen pertaining to your career or your image or your PR runs, and whatever the case is, and you in a professional setting are being referred to as daddy, and then being grateful. Nobody should have. I'm just saying the whole damn thing is a conundrum, okay? Everything about it is a damn conundrum, okay? It's a conundrum. I hope you all reconsider this. I'm sitting here, I'm rooting and I'm advocating. I'm able to get past the daddy thing, but I hope y'all just take it out of y'all public scope so that the general public, the GP, can more so be on your side, because most of the GP is caught up on that, and then the daddy thing alone it won't allow them to really get to the message. It won't. Shit. It's a conundrum. It really in my opinion, it shouldn't be the public business that she calls you daddy. But okay, we talked about this last night. We're not even about to do this. Let's hear the rest of what's going on. Make sure you support the channel. Have you subscribed? Are you listening? Are you appreciating the exclusive that we have going on right here? Make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. Okay.
So we love y'all.
You know, and we said before we came on that we was not going to be long, and we were just going to say, you know, what we needed to say. But I want to say to our community, don't give up on us.
In terms of our community.
Yes, don't give up. Don't give up on your relationships. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. You got to keep going and keep pushing and keep standing strong. Don't give up on your love. Please hear me, and I'm talking right to the sisters. Don't give up on your love. Don't give up on that man that's treating you in a way that you ain't never been treated. Don't give up on that man that's loving your babies, and some of them may not even be his. Don't give up on that man that is taking your shit.
Or woman.
Or woman. And still standing strong with you. Don't give up, y'all. So when people say, why does he have to be there? Because he makes me better. He makes me stronger. He makes me happier. He's made me a better mother, a better wife, a better friend, a better entertainer. He makes me better. So
damn, y'all, this is giving movie vibes. I wasn't prepared to get like emotional. Like, oh, I was here to see yes, clap back at D.L. Hughley. Hit him where it hurts. But shit, they got me up here in my feels. What's going on? God damn it.
listen, y'all, if y'all got somebody that is making you better, if y'all got somebody that's hanging in there with you when you know goddamn well you should have been dropped off, be unafraid to hold on to them. Be unafraid. Is it challenging to grow up? It's challenging. It is, especially when we've been taught some shit all of our lives and we've seen it. It can be challenging. That is why, D.L. Hughley, I have no hate in my heart for you, brother. When I see you walking through the airport with a support dog, I'm not making fun of you. I'm just saying, brother, if you have to have this.
Why you going after the people like you do?
Why?
It ain't necessary. Be funny without all of that. And when we speak about Oprah, when we speak about Tyler, when we speak about CBS, we're not speaking about them to call them out. We're speaking to call them up, because the same way that the Breakfast Club was able to say, I'm sorry, the same way Brother Lee Daniels was able to go across the stage and apologize, the same way that we were able to say, we are sorry, it was inaccurate about the cease and desist, is the same way that Oprah, who teaches master classes, well, sometimes we got to love enough. We got to love the teacher enough to sit them down and say, it's time for you to be a student again. Tyler Perry, it's like, brother, the world heard you on audio saying you were wrong. You cost our family tens of millions of dollars. We don't hate you. We love you because you were trying to do the right thing. But as Gayle King said when she did that interview about Kobe Bryant, certain people suggested that she just stay quiet, but she couldn't. Don't listen to people that tell you to stay quiet when you've done what you weren't supposed to do, when you've done wrong. Speak up, acknowledge it, because it helps us help the community. And guess what? We are only human beings. We are only human beings. And we got to let you know we love you enough because we know that's all y'all are too. Despite people making y'all think y'all are more than that.
That's it, my babies. That's it. And, you know, we have always spoke about when it ain't been fair, but we try to make sure we speak about when it is fair. We try to make sure we speak about when people do say, you know what, let me show you what I'm about. And I want to talk to y'all about our brother, Katt Williams. Now, y'all know that is my fraternal twin brother, non-biological, okay? And I want to tell y'all about my twin brother, Katt Williams, baby. Guess what? I'm going to be joining my brother, my twin brother, Katt Williams, on the Dark Matter Tour. So I'm excited. We are excited. I cannot wait to see y'all. Connecticut. I see y'all tomorrow night with our brother, Katt Williams. Albany, New York with our brother, Katt Williams. And I'll say this too. And I told him this. I said, for as funny and as talented as you are, your heart is far bigger.
Real talk.
And that brother done touched our community, baby, in ways that he's never even talked about. Those are the real ones.
Because as they say, real G's move in silence.
Oh.
That said.
Well, give me a kiss on that one.
What you say?
My
love
name,
y'all.
Oh, I was going to say my name is MoNique.
Did you tell me they know who you are?
I did, Daddy.
Okay.
Shit, I forgot. We love y'all for real, my babies.
Thank y'all. Now, we don't know how to cut this shit off.
Okay, Daddy, wait a minute. Bring it to me now. Can you bring it to me? Okay, wait a minute, sugar. Okay, y'all, just hold on. Okay. There you go.
Rolex on your wrist, a plane.
So, you know, like I said, we can either be caught up on the daddy title or focus on other things. It's up to you. Curious to know what you think down below in the comments. But oh my goodness, she's on tour with Katt Williams. And she did not attack D.L. Hughley the way D.L. Hughley attacked her in her size. So it's kind of giving Meg versus Nique vibes, right? It's kind of like, okay, you said and you did all that, you dug deeper, but I'm just gonna keep going on. And clearly MoNique, well, you know what MoNique truly gets into her bag when she's on stage. So she is going on tour with Katt Williams and Torrei Hart, but what will she say? What was she? Is she not the most nastiest of the nastiest things, in the ways in which she can convey that come out when she is on stage. So she hasn't been on stage yet, but for now, this is her response. It's kind of like a stay mad on your little radio show. I'm going to be on tour with Katt Williams. And it's interesting because Katt Williams, when he was on Club Shay Shay, he was saying how much he is more than an acquaintance to D.L. Hughley. He actually said D.L. Hughley was his friend. So it's interesting because all three of these people in this triangle are comedians, right? And if you're friends with Katt Williams and you're truly funny and worth the draw and you can put asses in a seat, why wouldn't Katt Williams have you a part of the card? Why aren't you on the tour with Katt Williams? Instead, the woman that you don't like is more lucrative. And she's on tour with your friend. your comedian friend. All of y'all are comedians. I mean, can somebody make it make sense for me? Because I'm trying to understand it, but I'm just like kind of just, oh, I'm losing my ability to comprehend. Oh, I've lost it. Oh, it's gone. You know? Hey, if you, if it was your friend and y'all was, and you was really funny and oh, okay. Oh, it is so funny. I'm so happy. I'm so glad for MoNique. There have been times where I have been critical of MoNique in a way in which when I can look back and be honest and say that I didn't see the bigger picture. I didn't. I was critiquing the way in which she was delivering the truth. And I couldn't see past the messenger, as I'm asking of you all present day. There have been times, there are videos in which, in times in which I've done that. You better go look at them now before I private them, because I will, and I am. But there have been times, but the thing is, MoNique has been so consistent in her messaging, and the truth hurts, and the truth is not always comfortable. And sometimes the person who is delivering the truth is made to be the villain. Is made to be the villain. MoNique has been so consistent with that. I'm going to open the phone lines. Is there anybody who wants to call in? There were people who wanted me to do a call-in show today. They were like, do a call-in show today, do a call-in because I had a caller that called in last night. Shout out to all of y'all who were present. Who was like, I didn't see the interview, but here's what I think. And everything that they thought was just completely bogus. Let me know if it's even worth it for me to drop the phone line. Can y'all put a 77 in the chat if you want to call in? If we shouldn't drop the phone line, then we won't, and we'll just go. I do have some other thoughts, but I really think I need to deliver those on a different day. Is there anybody that's willing to call in? 77? Throw a 77 in the chat if you're willing to call in. If not, we'll just get on up out of here. And I can eat my crab cake for dinner because I'm still living my best birthday girl life. Okay. You know what? It's going to take too much time to watch the 77s and then to drop I'm going to drop the call-in link. But my thing is this. I do really want to challenge a point in thinking about this, right? Call in, copy, paste, boom. And you don't have to agree to call in. That's one thing that I think that we need to improve on. And one thing that I know that I'm getting better. If you watched the show last night, you know I'm getting better with people who disagree with me. I don't have to cuss you out. I don't have to. Now, I did cuss a couple of the R. Kelly people out when I was doing the R. Kelly trial. Yes, I did. But if you call in and you don't agree with me, that is okay. That's okay. But last night was very interesting. Okay. Thank you for the birthday wishes. Here's the thing. When it comes to Black women refusing to accept less, and demanding to be treated with just basic respect and decency. There's nothing wrong with that, but sometimes you can be called difficult for wanting that. And as somebody that has had experience, have I ever been in the realms of the reigns of the MoNiques? No. But I have had some, radio experience, and it is a very male dominated industry. If you're not getting down with how they move and the way they move, and if you're cute and they like you and they hit on you, and you have to, not only do you have to turn them down, you have to be pleasant about you have to be pleasant about the way you turn them down, and think you have to be pleasant about the way that you move forward with them without seeming like you dissing them. Whereas, so in the real world, if you weren't dependent on anything, you'd be like, boy, no, I'm not interested in you. Like, boy, absolutely not. I don't like you. Next. Like, I'm not interested. If you do that in radio, it's going to hurt you. Like, it is literally going to hurt you. So, having to learn how to maneuver in a male dominated industry, it can be so difficult. So that's why there were some people who were like, MoNique is clearly a poor judge in character, because she was expecting an Sharpton or a Kevin Hart to have her back. And it's kind of like, these are people who offered an ear. And even if you don't have the ear to give, I'm going to tell people about it. When this person comes around you and says, if there's anything you need, or is there anything, I got you. It's not true. Don't believe it. So I'm grateful for that. I'm extremely grateful that she's letting us know that Elle Sharpton and Stephanie Mills and so on and so forth. So we have a caller. Y'all drop some pancakes. We do have a caller in the chat. We're going to bring our caller up.
The following video is broadcasting live, and thank you for being my studio audience. Thank you for hitting thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more Black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. What are your thoughts? And thank you for calling in.
Well, thank you for having me. But I would have to say I am very proud of how MoNique came back on this interview with her husband. She didn't let the low blow of D.L. Hughley, shake up what she's trying to do for the long run. Now, I was disappointed with what D.L. Hughley did, because right when I was trying to like his ass from what he did to his wife, this is what you do. You don't respect Black women and still don't. Well, I'm going to set that word. Sorry. And still don't. You know what I'm saying? So I'm proud that MoNique showed, no, it's time for us to really sit down and talk about it. I don't care how mad you are right now. When you get over it, it's time to sit down and have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? So we definitely need to stop the trauma of suffering in silence as a community.
Yeah, that is absolutely something that MoNique spoke on within her interview with Shannon Sharpe. She was like, let me actually go back to my notes. She said to Shannon, apparently Shannon said to someone else, why would you stay where you're miserable? And MoNique brought that up and said, well, that applies to family too.
Absolutely.
So asking somebody a question like, why would you stay where you're miserable? Family is not excluded from that. If I'm miserable around family or in the vicinity of family, then I need to get the,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, and if I have to suffer in silence, I felt like I was low key healing childhood trauma listening to MoNique. I said, oh, okay, she's being auntie for real. She didn't just she ain't just saying that she's that. It's not just cute to her. She really is trying to put in that footwork and drop some jewels on us. You know
Mm.
what I'm saying? And we can't suffer in silence. We can't. We got to talk about it now. We got to. Wherever it is. Like I just dropped in your comments. I just told a man at work, um, we got the same position as managers. He's an older white man. And I told him, I bet you do make more than me. He act like he was shocked. Girl, I wanted to lose my job that day and just cuss his ass out because you ain't shocked. I guarantee you do. We didn't talk dollar amount, but yeah, you do.
Shit. Damn.
Yeah. So it's time to talk, but you're the Aquarius, as they say.
Well, yeah, you know how our energy is as Aquarius is. Do you think MoNique should shut the hell up now? Or do you think she should keep talking?
Hell no, she need to keep talking. Like you said, how many times MLK have to say he had a dream? You know, she got to keep talking, and we got to keep supporting her.
Oh, you made that so simple. I was hoping you would speak more about it, but you made it simple, and I do like your answer. Um, yeah.
But I appreciate you having me on, honey. I'm gonna let you get back to your show. I'm listening and keep preaching, honey, because we listening to you too.
It is. You at work, ain't you?
Hell, I'm at home. Mm-mm.
Child. It's a mess. All right. Well, thank you for calling in. We got another caller. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
No problem. Have a good night.
All right, you too. Bye. All right, we got another caller. Who is it? This is Turquoise from last night. Okay, Turquoise, we're gonna bring you up in just a second.
Rolex on your wrist, a plain Jane.
You're tuned in to Jane, the plainest Jane. Be sure to thumbs up the video and subscribe, and let's get into it.
Hey, Turquoise, what is going on?
Hi, Jane. How are you?
I'm good, and you?
I'm lovely. So, she responded so eloquently because my boy was cutting up last night. I think he thought that if he jabbed her and talked about her weight and did a whole bunch of nonsense, he would win by default. But as you can see, last week Nique and Meg showed us sometimes you let people make a fool of themselves. It's not necessary. So I am so happy with the way that they responded to him, and they didn't go back and forth and do all that extra. They made it very clear the problems and the reason for everything. And then they let it go. Like, it is what it is. We ain't holding no ill will towards you. This is just the facts of the matter. And that was beautiful. And he's growing on me. Girl, he's growing on me because we talked about last night how he's just protecting his wife. And he's also doing his job as her manager. And it's beautiful to see a black man or any man in general protect their wife. There's too many people out here that we watch just make a damn fool of you, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And see him continuously showing up for her no matter what people say. I'm sure he knows people want him to sit down and shut up. And he's like, that's cute or whatever. But I'm going to protect and stand by my wife. And I'm going to speak truth to power. And I'm going to say what's real. There's nothing wrong with that. So I hope that people are starting to understand that the messenger is not as important as the message, and they let her live, because we've all been in a situation where we wanted forgiveness for something, and we wanted people to overlook our past shortcomings, and we asked that of other people, but for some reason they will not let this lady live. Y'all are not. I mean, we've all done something that we're not proud of. Her delivery is something that she's probably not proud of in a lot of situations now that she looks back. But it's the growth that we see in her now that makes it okay.
Yeah. There are so many people that refuse to see the growth. They refuse. They aren't willing. And at the end of the day, you have to be able to acknowledge, to see those people. You are determined to not ever see anything that she says that's valid. That type of person. Like you have to be able to use your own discernment to see. Like, but there are some people that are just like they're not willing to see that she's grown at
They're
all.
stuck. And then honestly, last night when we were seeing the comments of like maybe she's not a good judge of character because of who she's talking to, everybody I think can kind of understand being in a situation where somebody lied on you or misrepresented your character and you wanted people to understand the truth of who you were. So maybe you felt like, okay, I'm bringing receipts. So clearly she's okay with people hearing the audio of Tyler Perry admitting he was wrong. All the people that she talked about last night that she was discussing this situation with, they heard it. Maybe she just felt like if they understand the truth of the matter, then, I'm not going to be looked at as I'm lying or I'm making this up or, people will understand the situation if they hear the truth. I don't think it's necessarily a thing about her being a bad judge of character.
I don't think that it's a bad judge of character, but I can totally understand the feeling of being iced out. Like imagine being iced out. Nobody's fucking with you in the certain arena that you're, you know, in. For her, it's the entertainment industry, right? It's not like everyday people, being iced out. And, for everyday people, it could be something different. Being iced out and you get a lot of empty promises there. You do.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And people, oh, hey, you MoNique, I watched the Parkers. And yeah, if you ever need somebody to talk to or you need something done, I'm here. And, if you're at a low, right? Like, if you are exactly where you want to be and you hear an empty promise, you typically don't, for the
you don't hear it the same.
You don't take it up. You're just like, okay, this is just courtesy talk.
Mm-hmm.
But if you are truly taking a hit and on the down and down, not on the up and up, and if you ever need anything, I got you. And I'm telling you, I got you. These people told her that they got her. So she tried to start a conversation with these people.
Mm-hmm.
And these people weren't it. So for the people say she's a bad judge of character. You can call her a bad judge of character, or you can call her somebody that really exposed how much this is not a genuine person.
Yeah, she's just human like everybody else first.
Yeah. She explored that mountain. It's like a mountain that's really slippery that don't nobody know it's slippery. It's slippery. This person they don't fuck with her. When this person says, oh, I got your back if anything happens, it's not true. And so with her exposing this game, why are you mad? This is game. This is like, who to gravitate towards and who to not gravitate towards.
That way, when they come at you with that nonsense, you know what time it is. Empty promise. And then, of course, last thing I'm going to say is I've never had anybody cost me tens of millions of dollars. Not me and my family. Not that I can recall. So I'm not going to tell her to get over nothing because I don't know what that feels like. Being somebody who's literally just won an Oscar for her performance in this movie and then being blackballed and losing out on all kinds of opportunities and losing millions of dollars. I'm not going to tell her to get over nothing because it's not happened to me. I can't tell you how I would feel if it did. But I can tell you that I'd be willing to talk about it for quite a little bit of time. Somebody gonna hear my mouth about that. So,
Absolutely.
So hopefully, everybody's starting to listen now, and I hope she just continues with the momentum that she has and continues the positivity, and keeps growing and going forward. Regardless, there's gonna be some people who never want to see you for the person that you're becoming and see the good in you. She's going to have to ignore those folks because, look, ignorance is bliss. Sometimes people just want to see you in that light. But hopefully she continues to go forward with the way that she's moving right now. It's beautiful.
One thing about MoNique is she's used to a lot of doubt. So I don't, and so she's used to a lot of doubt. But that's not to say that it doesn't affect her. She's used to people doubting her, whether it be her family, whether it be other people, her upbringing. I've been following because she's a Baltimore woman. Like she's a Baltimorean. Like so that's why it's so funny when I hear people talk about Baltimore and they're like, "Oh yeah, Baltimore." And they pronounce the T and the L and I'm like
that's not how you say it.
it's fucking Baltimore. Like, but anyway, she is she's so Baltimore that and not I ain't gonna sugarcoat it. She's used to a lot of doubts. She's used to overcoming a lot of doubt. The reason why MoNique is who she is because she's used to a lot of doubt. And that might suck, but it makes her who she is today. So I think she'll continue. I've seen her in person. I've been down. There's a comedy club that we have here in Baltimore, in downtown Baltimore. It's called the Comedy Factory, I believe. I went to go see it. I went to go see T.I. there. I saw her there. But I think she's used to the doubt, and doubt isn't anything that's new to her. So when it comes to MoNique and her success and her placement and where she is as a person in Hollywood or as a celebrity, she is absolutely 100% without a doubt going to overcome the doubt. Now, does she get nervous from time to time? Yes. She admitted that in the Shay Shay interview. But she is absolutely going to easily be able to overcome. If you can overcome the way that Baltimore
family,
I don't know if you from or ever been here. The way that Baltimore niggas boo you or make you feel like a piece of shit, it's out of this world. It almost makes you want to kill yourself. If you can overcome the doubt and if you can overcome that, you can make it. And she's obviously already made it. So
that's why I didn't understand the fat jokes. Like, you think she ain't never heard nobody talk about her weight before? Boo, 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 tomato, 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 tomato.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
But yes, ma'am, thank you for having me once again. I love chatting with you always.
No problem. I appreciate you calling in. It makes me feel so great, especially having a caller with some common sense.
Girl, we can chop it up. Yeah.
Because
last night was rough. Can I be honest with you? Last night, you did listen. I want you to know that first of all, you talked about the commentary when you were covering Robert and his shenanigans. They were earning that because they were cutting up, and I was in them comments too, typing like, "Absolutely not, we're not gonna do it." But they were putting you in a place where you had no choice but to show up and show out. Last night was real interesting. I was waiting in the wings in the back, trying to call in, going, "All right now." So, you know what? But you handled it well. You did a beautiful job, okay? You've grown. Jane, the growth. I've seen it.
It's the growth for me. I grow. Because sometimes I am going to regress back when somebody really oversteps. But I feel like being nice in the interim and people understand, oh, she's always nice. Oh, she's always nice to ignorant callers. And ignorant, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just the uninformed people. It's when somebody really call in and really get on I'm going to let loose. And the fact that I've been so nice on so many other occasions, me letting loose is gonna be a chef's kiss to it. Oh, it's gonna be so good because I know what I expect from the people that I watch. So it's the same. So I do sense that I will be letting loose before spring break, before, maybe before March 15th or the end of March. But, it's okay. I tried to be understanding last night.
People think that fat meat is not greasy, and it indeed is greasy. So sometimes you have to make sure that you remind someone. Every now and then, everyone needs a reminder. It's okay.
and I'm baby, I'm maybe the way that I'm a ooh. I can feel it right now. Oh, it's just it does. I'm gonna let it build up, and that's why I gotta be. I be extra nice on the. It's a build up. It's a build up. Yeah.
Those are the worst kind.
Let them keep calling it. Let them.
Yes, ma'am. Hopefully, I can sprinkle some sugar in there. I'll call you every now and then when I see that. It's okay. We'll talk a little bit when you have one of those callers.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thanks, Shug.
All right. So we got another caller.
The following video is broadcasting live, and thank you for being my studio audience. Thank you for hitting thumbs up and subscribing to my channel for more Black news, celebrity entertainment, and a splash of controversy.
Hey, what's going on? What are your thoughts about Oprah? I didn't want to make it about Oprah.
Oh, I'm glad you said that.
Not I made it about Oprah. About MoNique. What are your thoughts about MoNique?
Well, first of all, I want to say happy belated to go, because my daughter's still celebrating all week too. But what I also wanted to say, there's two things I wanted to bring up. Number one is about MoNique, and the other one is to clear up why I think there might be some confusion and sort of like lack of empathy when it comes to equal play for Black women, and particularly in the industry, like, that kind of industry, the entertainment industry. For one, with MoNique, you asked why is Katt Williams received differently than MoNique? Number one, if you would have heard Katt Williams 5 years ago talk about those same people, you would have felt the exact same way, because you have the same opinion back then that he did. Like we've shared that same opinion about these guys all this time, and Katt Williams is more credible than the guys he's talking about. Now flip that to MoNique. If it wasn't for Katt Williams and the stuff we've been hearing about Oprah, to this very moment, it would be very difficult for anybody to take MoNique's side over the people she's talking about. She's talking about Tyler Perry, Oprah. And again, you've gone in on Tyler Perry before, so have I. I laughed my ass off. So I appreciate that. But the people that MoNique is going at are much more credible to the public ear, and that's why there's so many Black women that still weren't that sympathetic to Taraji, because they're like, it's hard to, people been raised by Oprah, it's hard to let that nest go. But I think that might be part of the reason why the people that MoNique had a problem with are much more credible to the public than the people Katt Williams is going at. And Katt Williams is more credible to the public, maybe a little bit more than MoNique. But I mean, more importantly, it's the people that they're going at. We already been looking at Steve Harvey like a Mr. Potato Head. We've been called him that. We've been looked at him like the side eye. And Cedric the Entertainer, he been fell off. We've been seeing how fake he was. Oprah, it's only the woke people that have been really seeing how messed up she is. And we had to, I think it took that plus Katt Williams for now MoNique to look a lot more credible as far as those people are concerned. Plus Taraji coming out and saying the same kind of stuff. So that's the MoNique piece there.
Okay, so Katt Williams and MoNique and the behaviors and the larger powers that be that they're calling out, what's the difference?
The difference is that the people that Katt Williams has discernibly more credibility than Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, Ricky Smile. He been a goofy. And those kind of guys. They've been not, and Kevin Hart, he been not funny. He been a sellout. He been a goofy too. So we've been felt that way about them. When it comes to Tyler Perry, Oprah, I mean, you got to admit, those names hit way harder than the names that Katt Williams.
So I'm asking about the credibility of these two different people, and you're going into who these two different people talk about.
Right.
Which speaks to the power that the people that they're talking about have. It doesn't mean that the credibility of either Katt nor MoNique have. So, I mean,
Really.
I don't mind going down the road that you're going down, but is there anything that speaks to, or has either Katt or MoNique been called a lie, have been a proven liar with what they have exposed about the industry?
Well, MoNique has gotten a lot more pushback from her peers than Cat. I mean, Cat Williams, people, but they don't really have no smoke for Cat. Cat will just embarrass her. Whereas MoNique,
That's my point.
I'm not
So
gonna lie,
my
she
my
got
yes or no question, with any and everything that you've heard from either Katt or MoNique, has any one of them been proven to be a liar? Has somebody been able to be like, they're a liar and called them out, and they've been a proven liar?
Okay, sorry, I got this the last part there. So proven part, no, but people have called out MoNique and said, "Oh, you're a fat liar and you are difficult." And then we come to find out later on because they got into it with somebody else that, oh, wait a minute, maybe what MoNique said ain't true, and then somebody else might come out and retract it because it's the industry you're talking about, right? So it all depends on people's situation, who's paying them. I mean, let's keep it all the way real. Who's fucking them? All that type of stuff, right? Will change what their beliefs are and what they know to be the truth or a certain story, right? I mean, I'm talking meaning the people that they are talking about in the industry. Their allegiances fluctuate back and forth depending on who they're signed to, who they're in a relationship with, who they're trying to pander to, what fan base. You know what I'm saying? So, and they have power. So you get really, 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 really confused as a person watching, which now leads to the next thing that I'm about to talk about. And that's with the sort of lack of empathy or the sort of, when it comes to understanding that Black women are not being paid equally in Hollywood. Number one, because scrubs like me keep hearing that, and we don't know really. I'm not saying it's any resentment, but it's kind of like, you take things at face value. So if you hear that Black women are taking over, this, that, and the third, you look on Instagram, you see your favorite Black celebrities who used to be on the Chitlin circuit, now they're taking pictures with, these big time people, and they all look buddy buddy. The next thing you know, you come out and say, you hear, oh man, and they're crying, well, how come they're not getting paid fairly? And next thing you know, they're corroborating, certain people's stories like MoNique's and other people who might have been blackballed. Because you see this stuff happen a lot. They start corroborating their story, and you like, what? So you mean to tell me all this time when this girl or this person was out here looking crazy, you said nothing because we thought you were riding high. You were with these people at these parties doing all this. You mean all this damn time you weren't getting paid fairly? How come you didn't say nothing all this time? And how come you didn't corroborate this girl's story when she was getting piled on? Or this guy's story when he was getting piled on? And then on top of that, we keep hearing about how we're losing and Black women are winning. So what the hell is going on? And then the Black men that do care about Black women tend to be the Black men that nobody cares about. And the Black excellence crowd, those kind of guys, the Tyler Perry crowd, who women care about, they don't care about Black women at all, and it's an image. And some of them guys is kind of, sassy on the low. So, also the stuff that comes out later on. So you just get like, what the hell is going on? It's so much to have to try to figure out to get to the truth. So, as a Black man, I apologize if I seem to be lost on, you know, the modern struggles that professional Black women face because a lot of you guys reach places I ain't reached yet. I admire y'all. And I'm thinking if I see y'all around white people, I see you getting praised, you look good, you make a lot of money, Google says your net worth is okay, and you have these parties that everything is all good and we're losing. So if you come back later on and say, where's the support? We've been getting screwed over all this time. We're going to be like, what? Are you for real? So I think that might be some of the reason why there's so much like a lack of empathy for that issue there and lack of knowledge.
Okay.
Sorry.
Do you think that MoNique should be quiet about her experience. A lot of people feel like get over it. We've heard this over and over again. I'm tired of hearing about this shit. Get over it. Do you think she should shut the fuck up and go on? What are your
No,
thoughts on
she
that?
should shut the fuck up. But I think that she should go about it strategically differently because, again, this is a minefield. So one minute people are like, yeah, you speaking the real. Next minute you look crazy. Next minute you. So if you really want to keep the momentum going, you talk about it. You do maybe a couple big interviews, and after that, go into detail on certain segments in smaller venues. So for example, you may not repeat the exact same stuff, or you might like you go on Shay Sharpe and you speak in general about certain things and what happened with Oprah. You might go on a smaller venue or Joe Rogan, you know what I mean, and talk about different aspects of the problems you've been facing. Because again, I thought all this time, after all these 20 years, MoNique's value in Hollywood would have been properly appraised. So I'm dumbfounded. So whether she should be quiet or talk, I think that she can still talk about it to keep the momentum up to make sure that the issue is there. But I think that she should quiet down if there's some movement going on, meaning that um, you start to see these guys, a hit dog starts to holler and they start saying, okay, 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 what you want, what you want, what you want. Here's, you know what I mean? Unless I don't know what her end
No,
goal.
I don't know what you mean. You said you know what I mean. I don't know what you mean. And in the midst of speaking about pay and treatment disparity with Black people in our community and not being treated fairly, and somebody speaking up about that, and the person speaking up, you telling them to kind of simmer down and then saying, do you know what I mean? No, I don't know what you mean.
Okay, okay, I apologize. What I meant was that she can still talk about it, you know, and again, who the venue is, and I'm sorry, I see Ashcast saying Joe Rogan. Different venues, you know what I mean, you could talk of different platforms, you they understand certain things in different ways. So if you want to talk about the industry on, say, the Breakfast Club, it would go at it differently than you talk about the industry on Joe Rogan because they understand it from different perspectives. You can talk about the white guys on Joe Rogan and talk about the Black people on Breakfast Club. But either way it goes, I just want to save her for another day because I see people's getting destroyed left, right, and center. So if if there's some movement around, I don't want her to lose no more contracts. I don't want she's you know what I mean. I want to see her get into some other part. I want to see her get her stuff, or even if she has to take a bit of a revolutionary role in you know, uh, uh, I don't know exactly where I'm trying to go with this because I don't know what independent means in the in her line of work. But the point that I'm making is I don't want to see her lose contracts if these guys start to give her some movement. You know what I'm saying? I don't want her to crash out for the issue right now because I think she's already taken enough hits. Like when are the Beyoncés and the Oprahs and all those kind of people going to lay it on the line for the culture? When are they going to speak out? Like I don't. MoNique has taken enough darts. I don't want to see her lose any
You're
contract if they
expecting,
make.
so you're expecting a Beyonce or an Oprah to lay it out on the line about pay disparity?
Well, what I'm expecting is to let some other people who can afford to
They
take it up.
aren't. That's the point.
MoNique,
Like
she's taking
I don't know if
already.
you think
I want
that
to see
people can
her.
send like an invite to their door. The most Beyonce was willing to do was to allow Jay-Z to do what he did at the Grammys the other day.
She didn't even want to be there.
That's the point.
They might be
Beyonce's
separated.
not willing to do that. Um, uh, uh, Oprah is not willing to do that. So to say when is Oprah, and Oprah being one of the people that MoNique is targeting for being a fucked up rich Black person who treats other Black people not like shit, but doesn't treat them how they need to be treated.
Oh, she could
You
be
talking
worse. She's
about
in
when it's
jeopardy
gonna
of being
come out? It's never gonna happen until more people band together and speak up and speak out against her. So
So
if
I'm not trying to be duplicitous. I'm just trying to say that I see you see people get destroyed so much. I just really want to save Monique for another day. If she
okay,
can keep speaking
so
on this
destroyed.
and not
Who's
get put into
destroyed?
a crazy box
Who,
and lose all her shit.
who's destroyed? Who's destroyed?
Meaning that if you know what I'm saying, when you speak out against when you get some momentum for speaking out and then you keep talking about the issue and then next thing you know you start getting branded as a whiner and a complainer and you're speaking out against certain powers that be, so now they have a
No,
way
no,
of
no, no, no.
manipulating things
I'm
to
asking a simple question. Who was destroyed?
who's been destroyed.
Yeah, that's what you said, and you said people have been destroyed. Who's been destroyed?
I mean, different celebrities who have continued to speak out. I'm not saying that they shouldn't speak out. I'm just saying that uh
So people, okay, so like I'm just trying to get specific so that I understand how to, you
she
know.
got momentum on Shay Sharpe, and if she can go on a few more publications and be able to, get into certain detail at that point, let's see if there's some movement on the other end.
So
Let's see
who
if
has been destroyed? You said people have been destroyed. Who is it? Who is it that has been destroyed?
it's hard to think offhand about what celeb. I mean,
Well, I mean, it can't be that difficult to think about offhand if it's so easily rolled off your tongue to say that people were destroyed. So who are the people? That's all I'm saying.
people who've been destroyed for speaking out against
No, it wasn't for who had been destroyed. It was people on the receiving end.
Oh, okay. My mistake. My mistake. My mistake. What I meant to say is that I don't want her. I don't want Monique to be. I don't want her message to all of a sudden be flipped around her and her, where she's being painted out to look crazy in media. You know what I'm saying? By people who are working with people who she's talking about, like they did the last time. Because the last time she spoke about this, her message was completely gaslit. She looked like she was whining. Steve Harvey said all you care about, you what you're complaining about is rich people problems. You even made her husband look crazy. You see what I'm saying? So I don't want that situation to happen to her again. Now that she's got some good momentum, people are realizing what she's saying is the real, you know, she can talk about it some more and then let's see if there's some movement. If there's no movement, then yes, keep staying on their neck. If there's some movement, then I don't know from there. I don't want to mess up her career because like I said, she's already taken enough hits.
Hmm.
I'm just nervous for her. That's all. I'm sorry. I mean, like I said, like I don't feel like her and Cat Williams are in the same situation. I feel like her situation is a little bit more on a thread. So that's why I'm like, when I see her doing this, I'm even more nervous than for Cat Williams because I know she's at more risk.
I do have a response to that. Let me drop the mic one more time. You feel like her response is more at risk. Than Katt Williams. Why is her livelihood more at risk than Katt Williams is when really they're conveying the same exact message against the system, against phonies, against facades and false promises when you come across people in Hollywood, against the normalization of being mistreated in Hollywood. They were both speaking, people playing in your face. They were both speaking, people lowballing you. They were both speaking about the same thing. Why is it? Why is it that you are more concerned with Monique's career than Katt's? Why?
Because I feel like Katt, um, I feel like as of right now, Katt number one has a bit more cushion and earning potential. He too is at risk too. I don't get it twisted. Like people he's talking about have way more money than him because they're close in the industry. But I still feel like he can survive independently a little bit better. He has more cushion, whereas MoNique, uh, I feel like there is more bias against her and the people that she's speaking out against, and the issue like there's more consequence if she's right, if she proves to be right, there's more consequence for the people that she's right about than there is for the people that Katt Williams is right about. Because for the people that Katt Williams is right about, they're puppets anyway, and they already are looked at like some clown ass sellouts. Whereas Tyler Perry, Oprah, I mean, that's number one. Those her ops are a little bit more, they hold a little bit more weight, and there's more consequence if they prove to be who she says they are. And also, I don't feel like her career is as uh in a stable place financially as Katt Williams. Again, I don't know, I didn't check their net worth, but obviously neither one of their net worths are what they should be. I mean, we know that.
Well, I mean, what's your net worth? Seems like you're calling them broke, but
Well,
um,
I mean, I'm saying in comparison to their peers who have been around the same time, who have been in with the industry, who've been willing to play ball and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying? Like Katt Williams compared to Kevin Hart. Obviously, Kevin Hart has a lot more money, but Kevin Hart is much more in with them people. So I'm not trying to. That's all I'm trying to say. It's not like I'm trying to make fun of them. Again, I care a lot about. I love MoNique. I love Katt Williams, and I've known of MoNique longer than Katt Williams because I used to watch the Parkers and Moesha and all those other stuff. But like I said, I don't want the same thing to happen because I feel bad. I looked at MoNique sideways and now I feel bad about it. So I don't want MoNique again to get drugged. I want her to get the momentum and I want her to get her bag because I feel like she has a case on these guys. So if she talks about it a bit and you see some movement, then let's see what happens. That's all I'm trying to say. I don't want her to sell out or nothing. I'm just saying I want her to. I do feel like her Katt's career is in a bit more stable position than her career, and the people she's speaking out against are much tougher crowd and are much more powerful than the people that Katt Williams is speaking out about. In name, obviously he's talking against the industry, but in name, Steve Harvey and Ricky Smiley, those guys are puppets to the people that MoNique is talking about. They're little niggas to the people that MoNique is talking about.
okay, so your thought process already, which I very much appreciate you sharing your thought process. It really just solidifies everything that I was saying. You shouldn't be disallowed to speak out and speak up and against a system that is mistreating you and disrespecting you. And that's what MoNique does.
Mm-hmm.
That's what MoNique does. So and it's a habit. It's not like people are like, oh, she just started. Like that is what she does. She speaks up and she speaks out against mistreatment. So it's interesting how men aren't the recipient of being punished for being that vocal about not being treated right. They aren't. So you're worried about a woman's career because she's speaking up. But if it was a guy if it was a guy speaking up, would you be? I can ask you a hypothetical question, but that's really not the answer.
I
Um,
mean, like I said, it depends on the situation. Plus, I also think Cat Williams has more stable allies. I don't think who are MoNique's allies when she starts. You know what I mean? That's another thing. Who are MoNique's allies?
Whether
than
she
Katt
says
Williams.
allies or not, she's speaking up about the truth and she's laying down game for any other woman that comes behind her who is Black. That's the thing. So
Who's not speaking up for her?
fuck worrying about the logistics of how she's making it, because she doesn't give a damn. She will sit without receiving money, just like our ancestors did when they sat in jail. Instead of paying the money to be bailed out, they sat in jail because they were protesting for some shit that really fucking mattered to them. So fuck what MoNique's going through. That truly doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. She went through being broke. Honestly, Kevin Hart gave her a little bit of money. She paid that money back and she went on. But what she went through doesn't fucking matter. What she's talking about, the treatment,
Yes, I
lack
agree.
thereof, the fairness, that is what should be the forefront of the conversation. That's it. The fact of the matter is MoNique is willing to have her family take such a hit that she took a loan from Kevin Hart. Hello. Hell fucking low. She has that mentality that our great-great-grandmothers and our ancestors had. I'm not gonna kiss the ass of these fucking white people who wouldn't even fucking shit or piss on us if we were on fire. I am not going to kiss the ass of these people for acceptance. I'd rather go broke. I would rather be hungry. And MoNique did that. And she took the loan from Kevin Hart and paid him back when she finally got up on her own. So it's not about the treatment. It's about our people really understanding what types of tactics work and what don't. Sometimes they want to ice us out. They want to ice us out to the point where, well, we're about to not invite you to this. We're not about to invite you. Oh, you're going to be hungry. Are you going to? Some will accept, some be like, oh, please, master. Oh, please, I just want to be invited to the Grammys. Oh, please, I just want to be pictured on a. And some are like, you know what? Fuck it. I don't give a damn. Fuck it. They're willing to endure the bullshit. So you talking about what MoNique or what anybody else went through, honestly, it's really, and I know you're a supporter of mine, but hear me when I say it's not the flex that you think it is. If anything, it proves that they are in on the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
They're in on the bigger picture. They're in on it. So what?
It's a very tough situation. And it's unfortunate that we're talking about it like this and happen to have this argument almost, because the real problem is that, like I was talking about, who are her allies? You have all these black women.
She doesn't have any allies, but so what? That doesn't mean that she can't stand up to the big dogs because she don't have any allies. Now what? She's still standing up to the big dogs. That's some brave shit to do.
I mean, I was basically trying to allude to the fact that it would be nice if some other black women who are closer to, who are in a little bit better of a situation and whose voices are more prominent right now.
Name them. Because you've got a Viola Davis saying she's not being paid properly. You got a Torrei that's saying that she's not being paid properly. Find me a black woman who is extremely successful in the acting realm that is being paid properly, that can say, I'm being treated right by Hollywood. So when you talk about allies, what the fuck are you asking for? To be completely honest with you, who are you asking for? Because even Viola and Taraji and whoever, they're not being paid right. So you said it would be nice. Yeah, it would be nice if she had those. But to be quite honest, what you're asking for, those allies that you're asking that she would have support her, they don't exist. And I'll wait and I will get quiet. If you can name me the black women in the acting realm who actually are being paid what they deserve, in the acting realm. Those would be her allies. But does she have any? And I'll get quiet.
Well, I was what I meant, and I shouldn't have said it like that. I meant to say who are who are further up, because they still could be getting not paid fairly too and not say nothing. But I was thinking girls like the Bailey twin, because they have some grievances too that they can spill out. They haven't been treated right by Beyonce and them, even though they're moving up. You have who other actresses?
The Bailey twins to pull up.
I mean, I'm talking about other people who would support her and say, you know what, we're going to stand with MoNique. We're going to stand there on this issue, similar to what these women did with the Me Too, right? Because black women joined up with the white women for the Me Too. So we definitely have seen groups of women gang up together. So I'm saying is that if I'm trying to think of who she could form a crew with of women, that it would be hard to say, okay, all these women are speaking up. It's still not an issue. Like if Taraji, that helps, that people have some issue with her. And then you have MoNique, Viola Davis. That's crazy. That's really crazy because she's a super duper 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 legend. So that's crazy that she would be getting underpaid.
To think that the Bailey twins could really be a quote unquote ally to MoNique when they're old enough they're the same age as some of her children. That's not an ally for her. They can't be an ally. They don't have a foot to stand on when it comes to talking about equality in pay and treatment. So I'm not really quite sure you're well versed on what it is that you're speaking of, to be quite frank.
That I'm not well versed. I mean, obviously you know this stuff a lot better than I do, but I'm just sort of winging it to try to see, because a lot of this stuff I'm thinking about as we're going along. You're saying what I was trying to say is that it would be nice if other black women who are in
it would be nice. It would be nice if racism was gone too, right?
But I would think that would be much easier.
That nice version, that vision that you think of, it doesn't exist, and it's not even realistic. So we're dealing with people who understand that, and as far as everything that we have as Black Americans on this land, the rights that we have, we've had to take that shit. And I mean take it like snatching it from somebody. And we still don't have everything we deserve. We've had to snatch it from somebody. So the whole "it would be nice" thing, when it hits my ears, I'm like, yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice if we were all treated fairly, or this, that, and the third. When it came to us being able to vote and everything else and whatever, we had to snap. But first of all, we were stolen from another fucking country and brought over here. And then we had to snap all the rights that we have. We had to take them. They weren't giving to us. So the notion of it would be nice to have an ally or something else, like, no, and to expect a person who is as old as MoNique to say it'd be nice to have an ally like the Bailey twins. The Bailey twins are like fucking 23, 24 years old. MoNique is like 55. An ally that's 22 or 55 years old that really doesn't even understand what she's fighting, what battle she's fighting, how she's fighting that battle. That does not, it doesn't aid, it doesn't put into the bucket of what MoNique would need in order to move forward with what the fuck she's talking about. And even if you feel like, well, it'd be nice if MoNique had an ally, it'd be nice if she had the Bailey twins. What the fuck would the Bailey twins agreeing with MoNique? What would that add? What would that add?
Well, in prominence, right now. Their time is right now, and they're on the ascent. So And also to talk about the part earlier where you said I'm not real versed, part of it is because I used to be really up on this stuff, and then for a while, especially after my dad died, I kind of hit the snooze button. I just said, okay, well, I guess not much of an issue. And so that's the reason why. And only recently I'm just like, wow. So I started to look into it more. But um, and a lot of the actresses are old, so I don't know the ones in between, the ones in MoNique's age and the ones as young as the Bailey twins. I have to try to think of what other black actresses in a prominent position who are prominent right now. I know they're there, but who will also would be able to speak of this? Who are like they're basically covering different generations. The older ones, you know what I mean? The ones that are in prominence now, the younger ones, so that way it'll be more credible.
Oh, whoa. Are you saying
To the
younger
people
people
that
are
they're
more
trying
credible
to
than elders?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Are you saying that the younger folks are more credible than the elders?
Even if they are popping right now, I don't think about youth and popping right now as credibility. Like you ain't got no what your resume look like. No, no.
I'm trying to figure out how MoNique can win this situation too. That's all.
I think they.
So I know where her critics are. That's what I'm trying to say. I know where her critics are. And I could see this becoming an issue again and again and again. So I'm just trying to
You
figure out
see
how to
it
make
becoming an issue, but how can you become a person that really accepts a black woman, right? Because I'm, I do you have this type of energy towards Taraji?
um I try to uh I try to empathize with her. The problem is some of the people that I'm around, they're kind of like, you know, I don't know why she's crying about this now. She was just cool with these people, you know, she signed a contract. She needs to stop all that whining. So they kind of make me look like I'm a sucker for feeling sorry, or not say feeling sorry. I don't want to say that, for feeling a certain level of empathy for her. And also, I'm from Chicago. I'm in Toronto,
Mm-hmm.
and people have these things get so polarizing. You have a pool of black women who all think the same way, a pool of black men who think another way, a pool of white women who are split, and a pool of white men who are just
Mm.
a couple white men who go side with the black men, a whole bunch of one white men who start spewing conservative stuff. So the point that I'm making is that uh
Whew.
yeah, I mean it's much tough. As I'm saying, the crowd, the people that I'm around is much more diverse. So it's very different when I'm not in Chicago. So it's difficult
To find a
for
middle
me
ground
to,
for you,
sorry, go ahead.
it's difficult for you to find a middle ground or find an area where you understand what they're trying to say to sympathize with
Yeah, I
them.
guess middle ground might definitely be it, or a place to set a position to settle at, because like Jane said, there's definitely more I need to know about this, and
So
I'm into the underground scene in Toronto. So, like I said, this situation, these kind of situations, they need to get solved, or otherwise, this is going to keep becoming a problem more and more. So,
So one of
hey,
the things that you said is accurate. It does need to be solved, otherwise it'll continue to be a problem. But it's not a situation where I think she needs allies. I feel like so when we talk about MoNique and how long she's been saying this, she was literally on the heels of winning an Oscar right when she started discussing this issue, and they still did her the way that they did. So I don't think that she was less credible then, and I don't think that it was an issue of credibility. I just think that people like to throw rocks, hide their hand. When we talk about pay for women, black women in any industry, no matter where you are in the world, it's always been the same thing. But when your situation looks good or you're in a better place, 9 times out of 10 you're not going to speak up. You're not going to say anything to support this woman, whether you know she's telling the truth or not. I can't tell you how many actresses probably sat there when she was saying, hey, I'm not going to accept less than what I'm worth, and we're like, yep, she's right, behind the scenes. Were they willing to say anything about it? No. The reason why Taraji's talking about it right now, unfortunately, she had a terrible experience on the set of The Color Purple, according to her, right? and now we're discussing it. And she talks about other things that have gone on with her. But as far as MoNique is concerned, when I think about credibility, I think about resume. If Angela Bassett came out and was talking about this, if some of the actresses that have been in the game forever came out, I think they would lend more to the credibility than
Yeah.
the Bailey twins or anybody that's popping. Just because you popping don't mean you credible. There's plenty of people that are out here in the world, you know, and everybody's paying attention to them. That doesn't lend to their credibility. So for me, it doesn't have anything to do with who's in the now. It's more so I think that she's credible, and the thing that lends to her credibility is the fact that she has consistently said the same thing over and over again. When you are, I like true crime. So when you are in an interrogation room and they're asking you for your timeline for the last however many hours, days, whatever, they want to see consistency in your words, and that is how they determine whether you are credible or not. This woman has consistently said the same thing over and over again, and for me, that's what makes her credible. That's what makes it believable. Katt Williams actually was in a terrible situation a couple years ago. I don't know if you remember that or if you were up on that,
Oh,
but
by the way,
my
guys, I'm
boy
not
was my boy
that.
was in he was in the dark place. He was in the sunken place himself. He spoke out about a lot of things too. He's been also saying the same things about the same people for years. The same way that MoNique is seeming repetitive, Katt Williams has also been called repetitive because he will call you out and he'll continue to do so. But it doesn't make him more credible. I think it just looks different because he's a man. I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. I think people look at the two situations, um, and now all of a sudden, even look at D.L. Hughley last night. He said Club Shay Shay is turning into the Wendy Williams show. Blah blah blah. He wasn't saying all that when Katt Williams was on the show. Did he say that? Katt Williams was apparently, you know, people considered his interview just as messy, whatever you want to call it. And nobody said the same things that they're saying about MoNique. And all she did was speak facts about her situation. So again, there is a huge difference in the way things look when a man says the same thing as a woman. And
Absolutely.
it looks different. It just looks different. Just like we choose who we want to take things from. For instance, Jay-Z just said, my wife has won damn near every award opinion. She has the most Grammys out of any artist, and y'all still haven't given her album of the year. That's crazy. Everybody praised him for speaking up for his wife. Sydney is over here speaking up for his wife. Guess what? He get told, shut up and sit down. It depends on the person that's saying it and how you want to receive it. But most of the time, when a woman says the same thing as a man, it's not received the same way. And that's just facts.
Absolutely.
So
That is absolutely
if
true.
if she wants to have some allies, maybe some of these men need to start speaking up about the pay disparities between women and men. Maybe they need to start saying women need to be paid as much as we are.
I think I agree. I've been said that, but I mean, I've been falling on deaf ears. And for the people in the chat, I'm not trying to troll or be insensitive to MoNique. I was trying to figure out how this situation could work for her, so she didn't go through the same thing she went through last time. Because I like the momentum that she has now. And Jane asked, should she keep talking or should she quiet down? And especially when you're dealing with the industry, that can be kind of tricky. That's what I was trying to say.
I think that yes, it can, but I think one of the biggest things is in any area, even in the industry or in the world, when it comes to Black people, our rights, people in general, when something is wrong, you have to keep talking about it until it is made right. That's just the unfortunate way of the world. Because yeah, you can say it one time, two times, three times, but it has to be repetitive for people to really hear you and change it. The only way it stops as far as conversation is if it changes. So she can't stop talking now, even if she's gotten good traction and it seems like things are going better for her. One of the reasons why I believe that's happening is because people are hearing Tyler Perry's own words lending credence to the things she's been saying for years. She's been saying that this man lied on her, and now they can hear him lying on her. I mean, admitting to lying on her and blackballing her and putting her in a situation where she couldn't feed her family. So that is also helping her. But no, I mean, I feel like even if she's at a place where she's doing better, if she's really speaking for the people and the women in the industry, she's going to have to keep talking about it. There's no way she can ever be quiet, whether her situation is better or worse. If she stands on that, she got to stand on that regardless, and she has to keep talking. It's just no way around it.
But how do you feel when you see a situation like that happen, right? So you
There's
see a
martyrs in every situation. There's always going to be somebody that's going to have to take a hit. And that's the unfortunate reality. Every single situation has someone who has had to have the courage to stand up. And the things that they deal with as a result of that courage are always going to be hard. It is beautiful that she sat on that, even though she's lost millions of dollars, and she's continued to say, hey, this ain't right, period, point blank. I'm not going to stand down. Every single situation has had to have people who have said, I'm going to lose, I'm going to be hurt, my family might suffer, I'm going to suffer, but I'm going to suffer for the truth, and I'm going to suffer for what's right. That's the only way it changes. If you look at any area of our history, that's
oh,
the way that it goes. So it sucks. It does suck, and it hurts that it has to be someone who takes that hit, but it's also the way that we move things forward. She's taking the hit for us. That's another reason why people need to stop telling her to shut up, because she's taking the hit for people that are years down the line who don't even know she's taking that hit.
and she continuously has been taking a hit. She's been taking a hit for the longest time.
Sometimes
And
you reap the rewards at the end and not while it's going on. She's going to get everything that she deserves as far as, you know, the things that she's lost, because her talent is going to give those things back to her. She's doing the work. She's unfortunately lost a lot of money and a lot of opportunities, but she has still continued to fight, and she's going to get it back. Because when you have that type of perseverance, when you're in a situation where you're taking financial hits and you're used to a certain lifestyle and your family cannot have that lifestyle because of this, and you still stand on business, it's nothing like that. There's nothing like that. So yeah, she's going to get it back. And obviously she's okay with the hits that she's taken, because she's remained on the same platform this whole time, same stage, saying, hey, this is wrong, I've been telling y'all this, I'm saying the same thing. But again, yeah, it sucks. She doesn't deserve that. But she took that hit for everybody that came behind her, all the other people that are coming behind her. And that has been the same throughout history, regardless.
but now what I wanted to ask you about, because I understand that part, but what was mind baffling to me is you keep seeing over and over again, you keep saying this so-called black girl magic that these industry women are pushing, right? And yet you see this going on.
So the
So
thing about black girl magic is, if you
not
look at us as a
somebody,
whole,
and somebody is not with
I
the
don't think it's a lie.
this.
I think what you're referring to is the fact that black women as a whole, we are the most educated group of people. Like, if you look at all of the different accolades and the things that black women have done as a collective, yes, that's where the black girl magic comes from, because we have been in positions where we have been we're still the most unprotected. But again, we have climbed up out of circumstances that have been literally the worst to
Right.
become the best in a lot of different areas. Does that mean that we're not mistreated? It absolutely does not. What that means is black women are winning in a lot of different areas. We're pulling ourselves up. We're pushing ourselves out of these terrible circumstances that we're put in. And because of that, you see us coming up in the world as a whole. We are celebrating ourselves. Black Girl Magic, the movement of Black Girl Magic, does not mean that we're not suffering and we're not still dealing with the same stuff.
But
It
that's
just
not
means
what I was
that,
trying to say. What I was trying to ask you is that, like, when we see this happening, how is it that you don't see enough of the other? I know there is many more. There are many more black women in the industry that are there and that are going through this and that are in prominent positions. So
fear
there's no way that MoNique and
is
maybe
the only
one
one.
one's going through this. That's the point I'm making. How do you feel about the fact there's all these black women, but there's only a few, that are willing to really speak up when it comes to the big dogs? You see what I'm saying?
That's
Okay,
fear. If you listen to MoNique,
let me get to this. Ask that question again.
Yeah. So I was saying is that with so many black women that we know are in prominent positions throughout the industry and in many industries where for years and years black women have been mistreated. Why, number one, how does this still continue even with all these black women there? And number two, okay, fine, that's the glitch in the system needs to be fixed, needs to take time to be fixed. Even when it comes to the speaking out against the powerful people, why are there still so few black women doing that, considering how many more black women have gained prominence? You see what I'm saying? Because it seems like it's the same black women that keep like MoNique has been taking hits forever. That's what I'm trying to say. How do you feel
You know
about
how much racism was going on when Martin Luther King and Malcolm X were talking about what they were doing? You know how many people were more concerned about their safety rather than
Mm-hmm.
speaking out and up against that system that was oppressing them?
The safety of their families, not getting their houses firebombed, not getting
All
their
of
businesses firebombed.
So when you say why is MoNique the only one speaking up, why did we only have a handful of people that we have that were really speaking up and were bold and were brave enough to get in front of a podium and be a public and knew that they were going to be killed one day? Both
Yep.
Martin Luther King and Malcolm X, they knew that they would be killed one day for speaking
credit
up about the freedom and the bullshit that that we have to deal with as Black people. They knew that, and they
Takes
were both
courage.
eventually fucking assassinated.
It
Luckily,
takes
we live in
courage.
a different day and age where, of course, racism still exists. So when you ask why is MoNique the only one speaking up, or you're speaking like this system does or doesn't exist, the shit that MoNique has to deal with and people in the entertainment industry, of course it exists back then. How the fuck do you think Black people got into movie making and acting and Hollywood? Do you think it was easy? Do you think the white people just opened the door and said, "Oh, hey, here, nigger, you can come on and you can act"? No, they had to accept these low vibrational ass, you're a slave, you're this, you're that, until they could work their way up into acting. So there is no difference within acting in that realm, in that area, in that vicinity, and how we're treated in the real world. If anything, it's an example on public fucking display. This is what I'm trying to get people to fucking understand. This is what, let me try to calm.
It is MoNique's industry, right? But at the end of the day, in every situation that she's speaking of, there are people who have had the courage to stand up for these things. And there are people who have been more concerned with their own livelihood and their own families and their own safety. There are people who are called to do that. And you have to believe that.
Everybody's not willing to speak up because why? Do you remember the exchange that MoNique had with Steve Harvey? Steve Harvey told MoNique that she needs to play the game. And the game is to shut the fuck up and to accept the bullshit.
And that her problems were rich people problems.
She also said yesterday,
it's not that her problems are rich people problems.
That's what Steve Harvey said.
On Club Shay Shay, she said, if you looked at slavery, what they would do is they would whip a slave in front of the other slaves to create fear in the entire group, so that you understood that if you decide that you are going to do the same things, this is what the repercussions are going to be. What they do when they blackball you or they put you in a situation where you cannot financially feed your family is they do the same thing, and they create fear in people who are not so they create a situation where people are not willing to stand up because they don't want to be in the same situation that you're in. It's the same thing. When you see somebody getting their house firebombed for speaking up against racism, you decide, okay, do I want my children to not have a home to come to? Do I want to be in a situation where we could be inside and we could lose our lives? It is not easy to do what MoNique did. And that's the reason why you don't see more people doing it.
Is it not easy to do what MoNique did? It is not easy to do what MoNique is doing.
It's doing right now.
Very much still present day. This is the very reason why when Taraji spoke out about the mistreatment and the fucked up shit that was happening in the dressing rooms and how they didn't have it and the transportation, why 2 weeks after that, Taraji P. Henson sent a love letter, and it was on all of the white publications. Oh, Taraji said this about Oprah, but she also has now sent a love letter. Why does she fucking, I don't know, send a fucking love letter after she called truth to power to what
she was scared. She was afraid. She was afraid. She said it, but then she backtracked. She backpedaled. She didn't stand on what she was saying. She said it.
Play the game that Steve Harvey was talking about.
So she doesn't create situations like that.
Okay, fine. Play the game. But this is why you've been in the game for over 10 years, going on 2 decades. This is why you've been playing the game so long, and you sit here and you're crying. You're crying because the game been doing you dirty for going on 2 decades because you've been accepting less for too fucking long. That's why. When people develop a pattern of mistreating you, nothing's going to stop it until you stand up to it. If the first time you see a little crumb and you accept it, okay, that's their first inkling that they can continue doing that to you. So, Jamal, I'm trying to understand from you and you saying, why is MoNique the only one stepping up about it? She's the only one stepping up about it to answer your question because she's the only one that is bold enough, willing enough to stand up to it. Other people are willing to tap dance and play the game.
Yeah.
She's not willing.
Her opinion about all these
Very
guys. Then.
obvious within her character.
And it's unfortunate, but everybody ain't gonna have that courage. And we can't expect them to.
Let's hear what Jamal got to say.
I said that, well, then if this is the case, and especially the way I'm getting roasted in the chat, then what this is going to make me have to do now is say, well, then you know what? We have to completely change our opinion about a whole bunch of these black people in the industry, from these gangster rappers all the way to the, because again, and even the liberal white people who pretend to be down with it. Because it's like, okay, then why are you like, you see some of these prominent black women with these very, 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 very prominent white actresses and people in Hollywood smiling together, going to the parties. Then 2 2s later, you hear these black women complaining about how they're being treated completely differently, how they don't like it, how is this, is that. And you're like, what in the world? This is what's going on. So that kind of changes. Okay, well then now we need to have a whole nother approach, and we need to start looking at all these people a lot differently now. That's what I'm saying. Because like, which if based on what I'm hearing, then this is a big game changer as far as how we have to look at all of these people there.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, like, not just, I mean, these people have to start really losing their legacies then. How do you feel about Lee Daniels then? How do you feel about, like, you know what I'm saying? All these so-called black excellence people that have been catapulted, mostly by black women. So black women have catapulted these guys to positions that they're not willing to defend black women in. And us black men are
That's our
baffled.
everyday life as black women. I want you to know that it's not just in this industry. Black women are not protected on a regular basis. But to your point, I mean, you can say that. Yeah, there's a lot of people who are not willing to speak up. But again, that's one part of this huge picture. This picture is huge. It's way bigger than what we're talking about today. This has been going on for a long time. The point is, MoNique took that L for everybody else to come up. When she says, I'm doing it for the people that are coming behind me, you can look at her and say that's absolute fact. She's not doing it for herself.
It's fact, right. It's not a hollow figure of speech. She actually did like lose a lot of money, sit without work for a lot of time, because she truly wants the betterment. And this is the point. This is the point that I'm making when it comes to my Black History segment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Our people back in the day used to endure jail time and not get bailed out, because why spend my money to get bailed out to give you more money and more resources to enslave or lock up more of us? She dealt with that bullshit. So this is why it is so important for us to look back at Black history. We're trying to fight racism here today in 2020 fucking 4.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? And this is something that was going on since the beginning of time, essentially. Mm-hmm. So if we're not looking at how they did it back then and trying to understand how we need to play it present day, then we're always going to be at a loss and we're always going to be fucked up. When I say we haven't had a civil, it's a running joke that we haven't had a serious conversation since the civil rights movement.
We thought racism was over. That's why we thought racism was about to be. I think we moved towards.
I don't think Black people thought it was over. I think they keep trying to convince us that it is, but I don't think Black people.
We ain't had a serious conversation since the civil rights movement. And truly, if we go back, because the thing about it is racism has went nowhere. The racism that our great-great-grandparents have experienced, we're still experiencing racism. However, society has changed a bit. Now we get our great-great-grandparents didn't have racism through social media because there was no social media. There was no internet. There was no that. So racism has kind of really evolved and turned into, this different thing. So how do we fight that? How do we combat that? I feel like if we really spent the time studying what our ancestors did back in the day to really take back what they needed to take back, I feel like we could come out with some modern day solutions. But, if we're not willing to study what happened then, if we're not willing to look back on what our ancestors then, that number one, not only is that a problem, we have a lot of revisionist history. That's a problem. We got these school systems who are deciding that they don't want to teach CRT because we've got this white fragility.
We just want to hide all of our BS from the past.
Oh, it's gonna make the white people feel guilty because Oh, okay, well, that's what the fuck they granddaddies did. Like,
that's what they
hell?
deserve.
What do you guys do with white people?
What happened? So at the end of the day, we need to study the tactics. They were serious about that shit. Malcolm, Martin, the people that they were serious about. We're not really serious. We'll get online and type some shit out.
That's it.
We'll type, but they're not really serious about what it is about standing up against really being discriminated against and being treated unfairly and being treated like shit. But back in the day, they actually had training. Little do any of you, they had training where they had to go and people would pull it on their hair and smoking a cigarette and blowing the cigarette in their face. And can you deal with all this and still advocate for Black power and not there was a lot there was so much shit that our people did back in the day in order to make a fucking difference.
And they were willing to take them L's too. They were
willing. Are we though? Are we? And we have access to a lot more information. We have access to a lot more capital. We have access to a lot more than our ancestors did. But we don't have the wherewithal that our ancestors did. That's why I'm so disappointed in this shirt that I have. I have this shirt that I purchased from this website that said, I'm one of the ancestors you can't kill or something like that it says. And I thought it was cute when I saw it. I was like, oh yeah. But it's just like, let's not make fun of what our ancestors dealt with.
Like some real ones, because the wherewithal that they had to really lose and be in situations where they were hurt physically, emotionally, otherwise, literally, they did that. I don't think some of these people don't have that same urgency about the situation. They don't want it bad enough. So it's, am I going to allow myself to be put in jail, or am I going to lose out on money or opportunities? No, that's the reason why what MoNique is doing is so prevalent, because if you think about it, she's doing the same thing. She's losing opportunities, money, and all of that, and she was willing to do it this entire time because she knew she was right and she was standing on right.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I get what you guys are saying. I was just that, number one, I too am also, number one, what are you guys' relationships with white people, and I guess in your professional life, if that's an issue? Because the reason I'm asking is because, like, in my own lifetime, and if I had to say who I've been more mistreated by, I would say by Black people. And I'm just being honest with you. Like, for the most, I could definitely name instances where racism was obvious, but I would be lying to you if I sat here and told you that that they were blatant about it, or that hardships that I might face around white people were solely based on racism and not just, ignorance on their part, my own failings on my part. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect either. I wasn't the perfect student. You know what I'm saying? So, and I have no problem
that you asked that question.
Black women smarter than me and stuff like that. So if there's something that I missed that they catch, I'm not gonna sit there and all I can tell them is that I apologize. I missed it. I wasn't trying to be insensitive or act like, it didn't exist. I might have missed it and I didn't make it that far. So I didn't realize it was, such a problem or still a problem.
When
That's
you
a,
were talking earlier, you mentioned a couple things about black women being in better positions than you. That was interesting also. I wanted to ask you about that because it seemed like it kind of led the conversation as far as the way you felt about MoNique and all that. I don't know if I've misread that,
oh,
but
no, I was two. What I started off asking her is there was two reasons why I came on the panel. One was to talk about MoNique, and the other one was to talk about why there might be sort of aloofness, or I might be, look a
misinformed.
little dumbfounded when it comes to black women being underpaid in the industry, in particular, yeah, in the entertainment industry. And that's the part where I talked about how, like, these days, a lot of us, because I'm not manosphere by any means, but you keep hearing all these men saying, "Oh man, nowadays is a gynarchy. Women are this is favorite towards feminism." Then you keep seeing black girl magic. And then of course, black women are the most educated people in all of America of every race. Black women are the most educated people in all of America, uh, and they're
Did you
very
say you live in
educated.
Canada?
I'm born in Chicago.
Oh, okay. But so question, have you ever heard the saying that most black parents ended up having to tell their black children, you have to be twice as good?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
Most of what you're seeing with black women is probably based off of that in general because society has taught us that. But outside of that, to your question, I was born in California, raised in Colorado up until 18, and moved to Mississippi. Hear me, hear me, hear me. At 18, okay? Didn't have a job at the time, going to school. I was fortunate enough to be hired by a Fortune 500 company and work there for 13 years up until
Hmm.
last November. When I moved to Mississippi, the biggest question that I get asked is, do people call you the N word? I mean, people that are not from here will ask me that. And it's like, have you seen me on the news? No. So nobody's called me the N word to my face. What Jane was referencing earlier is the fact that racism has changed. So is it absolutely everywhere? Yes. But the way that it's done is different. So they deal with things like your pay. You know what I'm saying? The different jobs they will allow you to perform. Applications, you put applications in. If your name has any itch of ethnicity in it, they might not hire you because, oh, I know this person is black. You know what I'm saying? Racism has changed, but since I've moved here, no one's ever called me the N-word or anything like that. But I worked in a male dominated automotive industry, like the automotive industry, where I was sometimes the only woman in the room and the only black woman in the room. And did I feel like I had to come harder than everybody else? Absolutely. And I did. I had to outperform my counterparts. I had people who were lackluster at best, performance
Hmm.
wise, yet and still, you know what I'm saying? They were moving on up in their careers and nobody ever batted an eye. Did I ever feel like I had the luxury of doing that? No. Did I get along with my white counterparts? Sure. But again, doesn't mean that racism is not in every industry everywhere and it's not very noticeable and prevalent and it affects your everyday life. There is a misconception that if you don't talk about it, it doesn't exist. It absolutely does. So,
Now, here's
I
the big
mean,
question I ask. Do you think that nowadays black women are more, I'm not going to say the word sensitive, I'll say acute in regards to racism than black, or I should say, are black men these days more apathetic about racism than black women? Because it seemed like black men these days are really anxious to want to just put that issue to bed, whereas black women seem to be much more diligent about making sure this issue gets resolved the way on terms that are more favorable to them.
I think that black women in general have always been very vocal on things that have to do with our rights. If you look at history, we've always been very vocal. It doesn't matter what time period you're in. Black women have always been willing to stand up and speak on these things. Does that mean that black men are not bothered by it? I don't think so. Jane, I mean, I'm gonna have to leave that one to you.
I listen. I I have to be completely honest. I find this entire conversation to be a pivot and a deflection and to be dumb.
I think Jamal, what you need is you need some black ladies in your life. I don't know how many black women you have around you. Maybe you just need to get some more black women around you, because I think that might be the solution to all the questions that you're asking. Because it feels like you're asking questions from a place of like, I don't know.
I'm honestly, God, talking to your chat, I'm not trying to troll, and I have been kind of isolated, but um, but in all honesty, it's not just the isolation. It's also the fact that even when I think that saying certain things, that the second we started mentioning about racism, then people say, "Oh, you always talking about race." Da 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 da. Da. Oh, forget it. You know what I mean? That's changed. That changed. That changed. That changed. That changed. That changed. That changed. So now it's like, dag, man, my head is just spinning. And then in the last, I would say, decade or so, more of a consciousness against racism has been there. So then it leads you to wonder, well, dag, did we go backwards when it comes to race relations? And now what I'm hearing for you is that it never got that much better. It's just that depending on what you're trying to do in your professional life is where it will rear its ugly head, and where you might think that it would have improved, it hasn't improved as much as what um,
Up until the last election, we have seen people try to put situations in place where black people couldn't vote. It's just that real. It's not changed. It and you
yeah,
just
I
have to. I
also
think you should
the efforts of
probably just
to
tune
vote
in a
right.
little bit more to the current events. Maybe then you would be, you would understand where we're coming from a little bit more. But nothing's changed.
I mean,
It
I
just
do
looks
pay
different
attention
now.
to politics. I do try to keep up with current events, and I do talk to people. Uh, the thing is that I have an extremely diverse crowd of people that I talk to that have a very diverse sort of belief. So in Chicago, they talk about race issues a lot, but it's very polarizing. So, for example, the family members that are poor, or so if you oh my god, if you're a family member that's still gang banging, you get treated so badly by the ones that are doing well that it almost is like that's not a good way of encouraging it. It just adds to the ignorance and division. Then now I moved to Toronto now, right? And for the most part, it appears as if everybody gets along. But every so often, you'll hear some black men and a whole lot of black women complain about racism. And then you'll hear a whole lot of black women where you thought that things was all good, not only complain and say, no, things was not all good. And you're like, what? And again, they're doing well. They're very smart. They're educated, or even that they might have been struggling with us, but they pulled themselves up. Maybe they might have capitalized on opportunities that we didn't capitalize on, thinking that they were getting more opportunity when really we just didn't capitalize on it. So they do their thing, right? Not taking no credit away from them. And then they look like they're doing well. And then they look like they're moving up in the crowd. Some of them even live in neighborhoods next to these same white people, getting money. And then next thing you know, they just have an explosion, or they just like, not only is it not better, it's racist, but I don't get no support from black men. All you black men suck. It's still racist. All as soon as you guys get some white pussy, all of a sudden you think racism's up,
Whoa.
which is partially true. And then and you just start to feel like, dag, okay, where the hell was I? So that's the reason why I'm asking these questions like this, because I'm asking questions based on exactly what I see and what I hear from a diverse amount of people. And to make matters worse, my mom is now, after marrying my stepdad, is conservative. So, and they're conservative Christians, but I was born in the Nation of Islam. So after my parents divorced, my mom was a teacher at the Board of Education in Chicago. She never was really one to love all the over black pro black stuff, whereas my dad very much was. But my dad was seen. So the point that I'm making is that that's why I'm asking these questions and talking the way I am, because I can only go off the stuff that I've been seeing over a period of time, and it's been a little bit, you know, it's not exactly uniform. You see what I'm saying? And as time has gone on, somebody asked, what am I talking about? I would know what I was talking about basically is saying why I'm asking the question that I am and why the issues with race, how I'm viewing race is the way that I am, is because uh, lately I hear a lot more black women than black men speak about it. And it appears as if black women have done a lot better. And then you realize later on that they're still facing the same situations, even though it looks like they've done a lot better than they are. And it's happening a lot. And
Just because you're
I keep
powering through a
hearing them, I
situation
keep
that's
hearing
rough
complaints
doesn't
about
mean
black
it's
men
not
not
rough.
being supportive enough. So that's why I'm talking like this. Like, what am I missing?
Just because you're pushing through a situation that's rough doesn't mean it's not still rough.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
it's still
I
rough.
mean, earlier you said it would be nice if MoNique had allies, you know. I'm just trying to bring it back in because I
Oh,
mean,
yeah. Sorry,
I
sorry, sorry.
totally empathize for your personal situation. I totally get it, but
Yeah, I love black women. I empathize with their
it's so
struggle. I'm not.
off base from like the title of the video.
The
Monique fires
topic.
back at DL Hughley, going on tour with Katt Williams and Torrei Hart. What
Hmm.
you're expressing is so far off base from
Sorry.
what we're talking about, you know. So to bring it back and you saying that it'd be nice if MoNique had allies, or she doesn't have any allies, or why is she the only one that speaks out? It's not easy to speak out about the powers that be. It's
Hmm.
not easy. You're afraid of what comes with that. You're afraid of being quote unquote Monique. Some people have replaced the term blackballed
With
with
MoNique.
Monique. Nobody wants to be Monique and be out of work for 5 or 10 years.
Some people can't afford it.
Yeah, you know, you just can't. So
Well,
why
what I wanted to say is that first, in order to really fully understand the pain that Monique is talking about, you would first have to be able to really understand that the issue of black women in the industry being underpaid and continuously being mistreated, even after it looks like advancement, would first have to be well understood. And that was the reason for all of that, because once that's understood, then it's much easier to get to the Monique situation to look at it with the sort of clarity that it would require. So that's
The
the
people
reason
that know
for it.
that they're not paying these women right know they're not paying these women right. They understand.
And that's really sad, especially when you consider that you see all these black people. And I'm gonna stop putting it on the black women. I have to talk about the black men, right? All these black men who are in powerful positions getting so much respect, and yet you hear these issues going on. They're still silent. They're silent on the Diddy issue, and they're silent on this issue right here.
Don't
So
got
it
nothing to do with them in their opinion.
you know, at the end of the day, Jamal, you kind of perpetuated some of the mentality that leads to women being um I don't want to say helpless, but for lack of better words, I'll just use that word. You're like, wow, how come she don't have no allies? She should have allies. Why is she the only one speaking up about it? How
I
come
straight at.
you perpetuated some of that? You perpetuated some of that mentality that leads to why women feel like their only option is to let me do some interviews and go on a press tour about how I've been mistreated. Instead of just putting it out on their social media, they're like, let me Power 106, Power 105, The Breakfast Club, 92Q in Maryland. They need to go because everybody's not hearing them because people like you or the mentality that you displayed here this evening was how come she the only one? You think other women who have never been introduced to Hollywood are going to let, let's just throw another bone in there. All of the people that Tyler Perry is employing right now with his I wrote a whole season in a weekend as
Studios.
situation.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Let's just say any of them really felt some type of way. It would only be one of them. And the one of them, and then you would have the other 17 of them being like, oh, that's not true. I love it here over Tyler.
Or that ain't my business.
Right. It's not like, so you talking about why was it only just one of them? These people, part of me feels like you're a coward, and part of me feels like, okay, you got to feed your kids too. Part of me feels like, okay, you got to feed your kids. Like, I'm not expecting you to put your foot in your mouth and be out on the streets and be facing eviction to speak the truth. But
I apologize for that. I'm really sorry for that. I mean, and I'm glad to get get what I got. I was just that, and like I said, I asked that out of frustration because I was just like, "Dag, man, how is it this prevalent?" And yet, there's so many. And I shouldn't have just put it all on black women. I should have put it on the black people of prominence, and I should have clarified that it was the black people in prominence that are in these. I mean, for example, the CEO of the Grammy committee is Harvey Mason. He's from Chicago, and you see what these guys are about. So I mean, that just goes to show you right there. You have all these different, and again, he was around during the revolution and civil rights, and yet he is totally still willing to sit there and watch all kind of travesties happen. And I don't even want to diss the guy because I used to train from his drum patterns because he's one of the best drummers ever from the band back in the 70s. But I mean, you just see that and you're just like, man, if this issue is as bad as it seems, as I'm hearing now, then that really goes to show you the level of apathy and the level of selfishness from so many of these prominent blacks in the industry. And I gotta get at the men as firstly.
why is it that you think that MoNique needs to have an ally in order to get her point across?
Well, I would say I think that it would be helpful if MoNique had an ally in order to advance her agenda a lot quicker and to be able to get to a place where she can get to where I think she deserves to be. You see what I'm saying? Because it is hurtful.
No, I
People
don't see what you're
watching
saying.
her.
I don't see what you're saying. I don't.
I'll put it to you like this.
Help me understand what you're saying.
I think that it would be more helpful if she had more women in the industry speaking out, so then that way her agenda could get advanced quicker, while at the same time her career being able to get to a place where you know it deserves to be, simply because it's hard to watch somebody who you watch for years and years and years uh have their careers be plummeted because of issues that really should and could have been solved a long time ago, by a lot of prominent blacks who've been celebrated by the black community, and having, black excellence attached to them, and yet are letting these issues continue. You see what I'm saying? Because there's no way this could keep going on if there weren't these black men in these positions, not only letting this happen, but perpetuating it themselves, participating in the colorism, going to white executives and snitching on them and trying bad talking them. Because MoNique talks about that as well. Some of these black men go to these white executives and start bad mouthing them. So you have these kind of guys out there. The black community should be really calling these kind of guys out then, if that's the case.
The one that is in question the most here is Tyler Perry, and he's the one that lied on her, and she's been calling him out this entire time. So, I mean, yeah, it's very clear who the perpetrators are and the people that have created this situation for MoNique as far as blackballing her and lying on her. And she's made it very clear. So it's not a secret. It's just the fact that people will pick and choose when they want to believe what you're saying. She's a victim, and people love victim blaming and pretending like you're lying. So at the end of the day, you know what I'm saying? I don't think that's the issue as far as her having allies. If he just came out and said he did her wrong, he apologized to that. This wouldn't be the situation that it is now. It's gone on this long because he has refused to own up to what he did. And so have the other people that have wronged her.
I'm just wondering what consequence would there be for this? Like, because if, like I said, there's no way, because this sounds, now the more they're talking about this, sounds kind of serious. So it's like there's some consequence that should be attached to this. Like if she could prove her case, and it's like, I don't know, man. Like there should be some consequences for that. Like, I mean, I'm, like I said, I'm baffled by this. Like you guys are, where this could go on. People clearly see this is happening, and yet, you know, like I said, I'm worried about her career more than Tyler Perry in this case. And it's like, you know, I guess I'm a loss for words about that. It's a terrible situation. It's not fair at all. Anyway, I'll get off.
Jane, that food look good.
And I'm sad.
I'm sorry. Yeah, it is. It's a crab cake with a little bit of baked potato with a little bit of broccoli.
Were you over there getting hangry? Your facial expression was given that you. Oh, okay. Never mind. We'll talk about it later. Yeah.
It's not. Listen, this is my little birthday meal. This is my little birthday meal. And
happy belated boo boo.
Thank you. It is. But one thing I was determined to do, regardless my birthday or not, like, I'm not gonna let nobody come on and be a little hypocritical or like, Jamal,
that's why I asked him if he had a lot of black lady friends and encouraged him to get some, because it was given like, I don't be around y'all like that. So like, I'm not, quite in tune with y'all's, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't giving. It was giving. You perpetuate some of the shit that I preach so passionately about. Like, what's
I said, do you know who channel that you just caught into? Oh, baby.
But you know what though? But the thing is, he's a day one supporter, so I don't know. I don't know if he slow, trolls, if he really means it. Like, I'm unsure where he lies. I really am. I don't know.
I think he just needs that one good black female friend to be like, hey friend, let me break this down to you. I tried to be supportive in that way. I hope I reached something there.
Jamal, is you here?
He's there. He's in the chat right now. He said, I'm so sorry. I wasn't trying to be a troll. I did my best to understand. Support y'all all the way.
Oh, it's okay.
We get it, Jamal.
It's not okay, but I'm saying, like, it's
I said, let me take the reins for a second because I'm gonna let Jane eat her crab cake.
I usually don't eat this much. I hope he I'm
gonna send love and light his way. That's it. I'm gonna send him love and some light.
It is, because you know what really hit me in a certain type of way is, hold on, let me see what was said in the Discord. Fine. Okay, so yeah, what hit me was the it'd be nice if she had an ally.
I think a lot of times that'd be the wrong people. People ask for the wrong, but it was the Chloe and Halle thing that got me, because I was like, these are not the ones. Like, yeah, she does need people to speak up and say, hey, you know what, she's right. But the most powerful allies for her would probably be white male actors. Those are going to be the people that are going to come out and speak on her behalf as far as disparities and the differences in pay for women and men. It's not going to be a Chloe and Halle that are going to lend credibility to her cause. That's not going to be it. It's going to be some people that have more credibility as far as time in the game, you know, people that don't look like her are the ones that are going to be the best allies because they don't got no skin in the game to come out and support her.
And that sucks in and of itself.
It does.
That sucks that we gotta.
Our ancestors did it without allies for a long time. We didn't always have allies. Everybody, every time you pick up a cause, you're not going to have allies. And that's the unfortunate part of it. Even if people know you right, people will sit there, know you right, shake their head with you, and still be like, but that ain't none of my business, though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But I will give you this: your facial expressions, girlfriend. Ooh-wee.
I try to. Sometimes I try to have them, and sometimes I try to not have them.
I don't think you can control it sometimes.
Like
most of us. Like most of us. It's just going to show up on your face, and people will know exactly how you feel. So
I can't. Like, why do...
I couldn't understand how Katt had more credibility than MoNique. That's the part that made me call back, because I'm like, you're losing me here.
Okay, so elaborate on that for me. How do you feel like Katt has more credibility than MoNique?
I think he was trying to say that the people that Katt Williams were coming at were not such big figures in the industry. Like, they're not an Oprah, right? They don't have the same status as an Oprah. So maybe he felt like because she was coming at people that were not as big as Oprah and how Tyler Perry is perceived, that it would be easier for him to win that battle versus her continuously fighting the giants. And I mean, I get what you're saying, but it's more credible for her to continue with the same story and have things to back what she's saying than it is to be fighting some people that are not as big in the industry. To go after people like that and really prove your point because you have facts to back it is the most credible thing you can do, in my opinion. Like, that lends more credibility to you.
So how does that make Katt more credible?
It doesn't. That's the reason why I called back, because I said I don't understand how this credibility thing is working right now and how he has more wiggle room in his career. I was confused. About that part because I saw Katt Williams struggling not too long ago. I don't know how anybody missed that one. That man was in the trenches too. It was MoNique's was her verbalizing what was going on. Katt Williams was going through some. Didn't he get into a fight with some children or something? Listen, it was a while ago. I just know there was a lot going on for that man for a minute with that Hazel Lee face. He had a lot going on, and he was in the same position that she was in as far as being blackballed. I don't think he's more credible than MoNique in any way, shape, or form. I think people are more willing to listen to him because of the way that he said it. You said it right. It was more humorous, and he's a man. I really do feel like people are overlooking that part a little bit, because she could say the exact same thing Katt Williams said, and people would still be like, but it's MoNique, and they would find a reason to discredit her just because of who it is.
But I thought you said you thought that he was more credible than her.
No, I said the reason why I called back is because he lost me when he said that. Jamal, when he said that I think that Katt Williams has more credibility, I'm like, no, not in any way, shape, or form. How did you even come to that place, sir? What would make him more credible than MoNique outside of any, like, I don't get that. I don't think there's anything that says he has more credibility than MoNique at all.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure.
It was confusing. So
Jamal is a faithful subscriber, but I'm not really quite sure he understood everything that was going on.
It mostly led to the fact that everything you do on your channel should continue. Thank you for the Black History segments and just calling attention to some of our history in general, because I do feel like there are people that get comfortable and think, oh, well, since I don't see it in the same ways that I used to, it's not here anymore. It absolutely is. And there's nothing that should ever have you thinking that it's not. History that you don't understand is doomed to repeat itself, and that is where the problem comes in.
Mm-hmm. Mm, I'm so. This is so good. It has no business being this good. Oh my
I'm
god.
glad that you are getting a delicious meal because you have been queening tonight. Let me tell you.
Oh,
You've done a great job. Okay. Don't ever let nobody tell you that growth is not possible because you have handled yourself like a champion. Okay?
it's so good. Last night before I went live, I recorded 2 videos. I did 2 pre-recorded videos last night before I went live, and then I went live. But I was able to edit one video enough to get it out. That was a Doja Cat video. But if you're a channel member, you already know the other topic and the subject matter of the other video that I need to get out. And I thought I was going to get it out today, but I saw that MoNique had responded to DL. So I had put editing the second video to the side so that I could just like come live and talk about this. But anyway,
You've been on a roller coaster. This is a 3-hour video right now. You've been you hung in there.
I'm
I'm proud.
I'm doing it. I'm trying. This shouldn't be. The fact of the matter is, this shouldn't be a 3-hour video. Am I grateful? Excuse me. Am I grateful that it happened? Yeah, I'm grateful that this video happened. But
It got a little crazy there for a minute. It got a little sidetracked. I ain't gonna hold you. It definitely got off topic, but
yeah, I
you
definitely.
brought it back.
I tried. With being respectful. But anyway, long story short, I'm back in my bag because I did. What did I do? I did a live yesterday about the MoNique thing. I did a Doja Cat video. I got another video that's supposed to come out. And actually, I have another video about this MoNique thing. And I think in order for me to not get distracted, it's probably going to have to be an edited video. There's another video that I want to do based on just how I'm seeing the whole MoNique and Shannon Sharpe thing. So I think that that's going to be an edited video. And I'm really just back in the game.
We love when you're in your bag, Jane. So one thing about it is when you do it, you do it very well. You don't come on here with no halfway nothing. Number one. Number two, I will say that I am one of the stickies. I'm a day one. So for me, I love when you take that time out for yourself. Because let me tell you, I have a therapist, okay? That's my girl, but she needs to sit down sometimes. And I appreciate the fact that she needs to sit down sometimes. You can't deal with all this stuff and not take care of yourself. So the fact that you take your time out in the midst of all of this, trying to create content, that is hectic, and deliver it to us. We appreciate the fact that you come on here and do this, but we also understand. So when you feeling like, okay, I'm back in the bag, that's great. I'm ready. Come on.
Girl, don't make me emotional. Oh, let me put my plate down.
And you better take care of yourself. People will guilt trip you for that very thing, but the stickies appreciate it, and I'm sure you get to see that because we always like, girl.
I feel so bad. I beat myself up so much and so often because I feel like sometimes I owe the stickies something. I feel like I owe y'all stuff, but it'd be like sometimes I just I'm about to get emotional. Hold up. No.
I'm like, don't get emotional because I get where you're coming from. I mean, when you have a platform and when you were doing the R. Kelly trial, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was working at that company that I discussed earlier, whose name shall not be spoken, like Voldemort. However, I would be at my desk every day waiting for you to go live because I knew you were every day to watch your coverage because nobody else could tell me a thing about Robert. Okay. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna wait for Jane because I know she's gonna give it to me real raw and she's gonna be honest about it, right? But at the same time, that was crazy that you were able to do that every day of that long trial. So people that love you will watch you. And yeah, some people are going to feel entitled. Nobody's entitled to anything if you can't take care of yourself. You can't give us anything if you are not all right. Everybody that loves you understands that. So it's never a situation where you have to force yourself out of a place of like, I'm not all right now. I need to take a second. to deliver content to people who fool with you the long way, because we can wait. We know how you are about your content too. You an artist and you sensitive about your shite. You don't want to give us anything that's not at your standard and your level. So we would rather you be good. First of all, because we care about you. Second of all, because we appreciate what you do, than have you give us something that's not where you want it to be. And you don't ever have to feel pressured. I don't care who the hell it is. Sticky, not sticky. If somebody does not understand that, they don't deserve you, girlfriend. And I ain't mean to make you cry, but like for real, it's so important for the people that we love to have that grace to be like, hey, today was not a good day. I am not going live with y'all. I love y'all from here, but I can't do it. That energy means everything. And you won't be able to create the way that you want to create and put out the way that you put out if you're not all right. So, girl, on behalf of the stickies that love you, the rest of the people that want to sit here, and if anybody don't understand, they can get out of here. We don't want y'all here if you're going to understand.
Ciao. Ciao.
The reason why it's great that you're in your bag is because I know you're feeling great if you in your bag. That's really what it is about. It's not about you creating content for us. It's about the fact that we know you good. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry. I did not mean to make you cry. I'm just saying, like, there's so many times we love people and we adore them. We watch their content and we frequent their channels, and they feel that pressure, and it's understandable. You know what I'm saying? Because that's what you do. That's something that you love. But we don't give people their flowers as a people. We don't give people their flowers until way later. Girl, them flowers, you deserve all them flowers. You deserve to know that people love you and people gonna show up for you regardless. So regardless of the situation at hand, we get it, we understand. Take your time with it. But when you in your bag, it makes the people that your stickies get geeked when you in your bag, because we know you good.
Y'all out of pocket, y'all out of control.
They in the chat with it too. Hey chat, y'all good. They're right. They love you. Everybody here.
Y'all are out of pocket. Y'all are out of control.
We gonna clap for ourselves.
All of you guys egging her on. You're out of control. Detention for all of you.
Yeah, girl. I ain't never seen you cry on this channel. But it's good that it seems like they're tears of, like, you know, kind of joy or a release that you kind of needed. You got to understand that. I mean, I know that it's easier for somebody outside to say that to you, but I sat and watched that coverage every day, and them videos were long videos. And yes, you deserved your flowers then, you deserve them now. Whether we talking about Robert, whether we talking about, you know, the gum on the bottom of somebody's damn shoe, what you put into it, it means something to the people that have been here with you this whole time. And at some point, I think I had lost, like, your channel. I was like, where the hell I'm literally talking to myself on you. Where the hell is Jane at? Like, I haven't seen her show up. It was because something had happened with your first channel, because I was subscribed to the first one.
Oh yeah, something happened. Oh wow.
And yeah, and I was like, where Jane at? And so for me, when I found you again, it was just like, oh my gosh, like, yes, this is exactly it. But you put a lot of hard work in to be where you are, Jane. And I hope you understand that people do get it. They love you. They see you. And we appreciate you. We support you. And we're going to continue to do so.
Well, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
The universe be doing what it need to do.
Every time.
The universe placed you here to talk some life into me. Goddamn, the universe is doing what the universe needs to be doing.
It does that sometimes, you know? It does that sometimes. I'm glad I could be a vessel, because no, I'm not saying nothing that anybody else on this channel doesn't already feel. I'm glad that I could have you cry tears of joy. And hopefully, you know, that did something for you to know. Like, yeah, we fool with you the long way, my girl. the long way.
Y'all think so much of me, and sometimes I don't even think that of myself. So
that just makes you human, though, and that's another thing people appreciate: humanity. Everybody goes through that phase. We are our own worst critics and our own worst enemies, but that's a part of it that comes with it, especially when you're trying to create something great. You gonna be that for yourself. That's what we're here for, though. To be like, girl, you got this. We love you. Anyway, F them haters. Let's keep it up. We're here for that.
well, I appreciate you. I appreciate you calling in and being part of the show.
Anytime, Sugar Plum.
I'm gonna go ahead and get my butt up off here.
All right, later, sugar.
Alrighty. Have a good night.